The world is changing, but one thing remains the same. Victories with 1xBet.
And how long have you been here?
From early morning.
Take notes, kids.
Hey, was that a bait? Will you share?
Hellcase, don't miss your luck.
Pick and live. Make your choice. Play Pick'em and get your prize.
Good morning and welcome to the final day of the group stages here at the Champion of Champions Tour Global Finals. My name is Sam, also known as Tickle. I've been guiding you through the day shift here for the group stages, and I've been joined by Yumi and Tea Time. They've been giving you all that big brain analysis. You normally hear them on casting. Now you get to see their lovely faces throughout the morning. Tea Time's like, shut up. He's reached that point where he's realized that I talk a lot of crap when I do these intros.
Yeah, I don't
Now
have a big brain.
see it on
I
his
can tell
face.
you this. It is medically proven that my brain is indeed not big.
Okay, there we go. So not the big brain Tea Time, but Yumi as well. We are jumping into that final group, like I mentioned, and we actually got to see two of the teams last night. So we'll start the day by talking a little bit about one of them, Astralis. I would argue the big favorites coming into this. And isn't it fun seeing Device as IGL AWPing, something that I think a lot of people, most people, did not think would work, but right now it seems to be okay.
Yeah.
It seems to be a thing.
I mean, and not even like seeing a drop off in Device's individual form while doing it. I guess, you know, the AWPing in-game leader archetype has already existed for many a year, mainly in South America, and, you know, Cadian, I guess, counts as Jame as well. Actually, the more I think about it, the more it makes more and more sense. You know, he's falling into the line of some greats, and I think he's actually carving out a nice little piece of the pie for himself, because a Device was popping off.
Look, I'll be honest, Device is literally my favorite player of all time. So we've seen him go from Rifler to AWPer, now to IGL. The only thing that I'm worried about is that we've already seen how, we've seen how generations are inspired by some of these greats, right? We've seen how Danish IGLs have all been great. All I'm hoping for is that if Device actually does succeed, actually can make Astralis contend for majors and the like as well, you know, can actually come through here, win the CCT Global Finals. I'm really hoping we don't see other teams try to emulate this. You have to remember, he is such a world-class player. All of the accolades behind him. This is not normally.
T-Time, I honestly think if this works, and if we start seeing Astralis in finals, everyone's going to start copying it. But that is a conversation for another day and possibly a whole podcast. So you know what we'll talk about is what we're actually going to see today here at the CCT Global Finals. Of course, just a quick recap if you weren't around on the weekend. This is what it's going to look like today. We've got 4 games. We're going to be kicking it off with MIBR up against BetBoom. The loser of that game goes straight into a loser matchup against Big, and then one of those teams is going home. The winner will face Astralis a little bit later on at 5:30 CEST. So that is what you can expect. Lots to play. One team is going to struggle today. They are going to have to play a lot of Counter-Strike if they want to stay in the global finals.
Yeah,
you better start winning over here.
and not easy games either, you know. I don't think Big presented the best form yesterday. I don't think Astralis are going to suddenly fall asleep either. I don't envy either of these two teams at the moment.
Our format is pretty straightforward, and I'll explain it to you. You've seen this many times before, but we are currently in the group stages. 2 teams from each group will advance to the playoffs and ultimately begin their quarterfinals journey tomorrow. It is the final group today. It is Group D, and let's just recap who has already secured their spots in those playoffs. We've got Aurora, Eternal Fire, Liquid, ENCE, Gamer Legion, Amcal, and obviously we'll find out which 2 teams will join them. It's a really nice mix of really strong sort of higher level teams that we would put a lot of emphasis on, as well as those up and comers from tier 2.
Especially because I really think, as much as we've been painting, someone like Astralis as a favorite, there's so many teams that can come through and actually have a really good upset win over them, right? You look over towards Liquid, who obviously, despite all of their troubles, have the firepower to do it. In my opinion, honestly, I even look over towards a team like MIBR, who's maybe got the map pool to do it, and I know we're going to talk about that later on, even Gamer Legion and whatnot, because there's so many unknown variables in a lot of these teams, and a lot of these teams are coming in with newer players. There's actually quite a bit of upset potential over here, even if we do have a clear favorite.
Who is your favorite right now from the teams that have made the playoffs, Yumi?
I'd probably say Eternal Fire. They played probably the most presentable Counter-Strike from what I was able to see as the heights of what that roster could achieve. I think the fact they were able to take a break and then sort of lead into this tournament, understanding that they would want to get their lion's share of this $500,000 that the CCT Global Finals does offer you. I think Eternal Fire have presented their not even their A game as of yet, but like maybe a B+ so far, and I think that's more than good enough to beat some of these teams that, T-Time's saying, there's a lot of facets and reasons why they could not succeed in the early stages of roster moves and shuffles.
So you're not on the ENCE train?
ENCE is a hard one because of the up and down nature of one of their core players. I'm not gonna do a deep dive on Diha, but if he shows up, then maybe.
I love how you bring up ENCE. We had a conversation with Glaive when they secured their spot in the playoffs, and even he said, "Hey, listen, we're also not exactly happy with what's going on. I wouldn't earmark them as a favorite." But how are we feeling about Liquid? Anyone got Liquid on their favorites list?
They're gonna be a favorite to watch. I'll say that. You know what? It's always a good time to watch a fight from far away. You're up in a hotel room, you see down on the streets, it's like a couple of people fighting. You're taking sides in your head, but you don't really know what's going on. And you really hope that everyone just comes out safe and sound at the end of the day, to be honest. But who knows, right? That's what we're looking forward to from Liquid in the playoffs.
There we go. Let's take a look now at the first game that is coming your way. It is MIBR up against BetBoom. The first time we're seeing both of these 2 teams here in the group stages. It will be their first matchup. They'll be well aware of what is at stake, and I'm curious now to figure out exactly how we're feeling about both these teams. Let's start with MIBR. I would argue probably easily the strongest team in Brazil for me right now, based purely on that player that they have in their lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Insani is fantastic. We can talk about at length about this Insani guy, but I think in general this MIBR roster are very well rounded out. I don't think they have like a clear weakness player, someone that can be exploited. I think they've created a nice system in which they can make use of people like BRN Azan, Safe, and Insani as sort of openers to rounds and players that can take control of areas as well. Always thought Drop was a very solid anchor. Both him and Safe actually I felt got misrepresented when they were under Furia, and that whole Furia debacle is only continuing to expand currently. They did feel like they got a very good fit on roles and players when they picked up these 2, and they're actually shuffling things around pretty actively as well, which I can always appreciate, because they're not just content with being one of the best teams in Brazil. They want to be a contender for titles internationally.
And to be honest, the reason why people aren't really talking about Insani as in like a free Insani out on Reddit and Twitter and everything is because the structure that's been put around him has been so good that he does play a lot like a device in an Astralis used to play once upon a time, where we know that he can go above and beyond it. We know that he can actually just completely explode, but he doesn't need to. And if he does do so, sure, he might win some more series, but you're not going to be able to get the consistency that this team is built up. I mean, you look at their map pool, that's just such a testament towards what it is. For a tier 2 team to have have what is currently a 7-map map pool, that is nearly unheard of, unless it's one of those teams which actually have a 4-map map pool and they've been forced to play these other things because they don't know what to ban at a time and they just happen to luck into some wins. This is not what MIBR is. They've really taken advantage of the fact that they've been around as a core since I think last year, July or something like it. This is a very good looking team right now.
What are you expecting from them today as they start their journey here at CCT?
The thing is, we can focus so much on Insani, but I actually think right now MIBR are trying to do the opposite, which is, I think, kind of interesting. They're actually creating more opportunities for the rest of the squad to sort of create chaos so that Insani can close rounds later. They will pull him into pack play. They will pull him into the fray, but they're trying not to rely on him so heavily to just completely destroy rounds for their opponent. I think we are seeing a bit of a metamorphosis as of right now, and when they go up against a BetBoom that are so aggressive and so unrelenting in some of the map control they go for, I think there's going to be a real strain on the players surrounding Insani to perform to that level, because BetBoom will come in guns blazing.
And at the same time, we have to keep in mind that if you are telling Insani that you are not the focal point anymore, even if you are going to be our main man, then you have a lot more chance of failure. To be very frank, you're not going to have him being able to bail you out of some dangerous situations either. This is always the problem with investing into a structure, investing into a larger map pool, investing into your supportive elements, is that sometimes they will falter because, you know what, the CIS teams, these European teams, they've got some pretty crazy firepower. And then Insani doesn't have the experience to be able to bail you out. That's the only place where I would still think that maybe Keserado still has it out over him, because Insani hasn't been put in enough of these situations where the structure completely falls out from underneath him and then he needs to carry his team forward.
You mentioned BetBoom. They're going up against them right now, so let's take a look at that lineup. So the problem with BetBoom is obviously after the recent tournaments, they get a little bit of a hard time on the internet, possibly called the meme team, but are they that?
Well, listen, they're not the meme team, but I will say it is kind of funny that these are basically the Spirit castaways. When you look over towards Siren, Chiron, and Magnogest, at one point or the other, all of these guys coming up in the Spirit Academy system, and it feels like really the only player who has continually always been a talent, true and true for me, has been Zorte. Yes, Chiron, Magnogest, and Siren have all come through with their own respective periods of hype. Magnogest is looking really good right now, but Zorte is the only guy who has consistently been spoken about as, hey, this guy could be a world-class AWPer. So there is a very clear dynamic over here between these two teams about, hey, who's actually, they've got their main people, but again, it's all about that supporting cast that'll be the difference maker.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I was actually with that conversation. I thought Zorte was a world-class AWPer, but I think at the moment, that's actually not being expressed very well for BetBoom. I don't know if that, the transition into CS2, I don't think he was AWPing as much. I'm not sure that I get the same sort of flair in late-round situations, which is, I've always thought, where Zorte actually performed some of his best work and provided a lot of extra leeway. I'm currently not getting that version of Zorte right now. So that's why my focus is on players like Magnogest, where, he is that consistent second man into bomb sites. He is round security, where sometimes Zorte is not.
But also, Michael, I think there's a lot to be said about the rest of the team, because you're right that Zorte does try and play, or at least typically was really good in these mid to late round situations. But the problem is that BetBoom right now is one of the worst teams in the top 30 for finding any sort of opening kills. And admittedly, some of that does come down towards, hey, the kind of aggression that they like to go for. But statistically, I think they're like the second or third worst team in the top 30 in terms of the rounds that they actually get opening kills in. That makes things a lot more difficult for Zorte to find an environment where he was actually flourishing in before.
I tell you what, let's pull up our player to watch now. We've spoken lots about him. It is Insani from MIBR, and let me pose this question to you boys: is how does MIBR shut this guy down?
Well, MIBR shuts this guy down by sending him to Furia, but BetBoom can probably shut this guy down by coming through over here, having a very well-activated Magnogest, probably going for a lot more site hits rather than defaulting into middle, because that is generally where Insani will come into play a little bit more. In my opinion, the more Insani is forced to be activated in the later round, the easier it is to mitigate the MIBR team and Insani over there with them.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily agree. I don't have this perception that Insani crumbles in late round situations, or isn't able to sort of read positions based on kind of a lack of experience, so to speak. I do think that, you know, trying to mitigate his effectiveness in the early stages of rounds will... I mean, you won't end up losing 2 players at the start of a round. You know, that's always a very big positive. I just think Insani is put in such pivotal positions to get ideas on where your opponent is going on CT sides, or rather, when they're on CT side and their opponents are sort of actively working their T side default. Insani is a very informative player in that he will actually hunt for that information and get it very frequently.
I agree with you completely, but like you said, it's pick your poison, right? I would rather not have Insani coming into a place where he's being set up with flashes to try and take a fight. I'd rather have him being in a late round where he has to figure those things out. He's too good. Like, genuinely, you're not going to fully shut him down. You have to mitigate.
1xBet odds are on your screen right now. I'd love to know if you're feeling the same way as the pundits. And now, as we move into the veto, how the hell do you decide what to play against a team like MIBR, who pretty much has that very deep map pool that they can just dump into and swim through?
He's pulling out the death note.
I've got the notebook.
You got a whole
Okay,
notebook
listen, because I was really confused about this one, okay? Because, okay, you know, we're going to see BetBoom banning out Inferno. And then normally when I go into a veto, I'm just thinking, hey, the perma bans are pretty clear. MIBR doesn't have a perma ban. So I'm hoping that they ban Mirage, because that does feel to be BetBoom's sort of solid. Go for it, Michael.
Yeah, they've been banning their opponent's strengths very frequently.
Yes.
In the transition since the map pool shift. So I am expecting a Mirage ban here as well. But no, they're banning Ancient.
No,
what?
Interesting. That's insane, because MIBR became iconic for playing Ancient. They used to first pick into it consistently. This is where they found a lot of their success towards the end of last year, but recently it does feel like they've stopped practicing it as much. So it's really interesting that this is the ban coming through. They must have been expecting BetBoom to be targeting them. BetBoom, however, I'm expecting them to go for a Dust 2 pick over here. Okay, but obviously I was saying that when I thought Mirage would be banned out, right? So Mirage comes through over here. Vertigo is the straightforward pick from MIBR. No surprises there. And it should have been an Ancient decider in my mind, but I'm leaning more towards a Dust 2 at this stage. But does MIBR want to lean into that?
It might be a nuke. I mean, if they have the choice, they'll go nuke. Yeah, I'm very perplexed by the veto in that, you know, MIBR, like you said, very solid team on Ancient. I don't think the Vertigo is much of a surprise, but I think BetBoom are probably even a little shocked that they're allowed to pick into Mirage, because that has been a creature comfort for them for such a long period of time, really.
Oh, I completely agree over here. Mirage is the exact kind of map which BetBoom would really want to be able to pull out. And the reason why I thought they'd want to pull into Dust 2 is because it feels like the next best alternative. Overall, I think MIBR do actually win out in the veto over here with the Vertigo and the Nuke coming into play. I originally thought that it might be an Ancient decider, which, in my opinion, actually could have leaned BetBoom towards taking this series. But now, when I look at the veto overall, it's better for MIBR.
What do we think of MIBR's Mirage? Take away what BetBoom is like on this map, but specifically MIBR and Mirage, how are we feeling?
I think that this is very much a BRNism dictated map, actually, for MIBR CT side. Not to say again that Insani will be activated or not, but BRNism playing in from B short is sort of what decides the pace of the game. Because if he feels like he can't take those duels early on and he has to recede back and play from a more passive position, that's where we're going to see Insani be forced to take more plays, and also maybe safe to be forced to take a few more plays. Alternatively, you just give up all map control towards BetBoom, but then you're just coin flipping against a team that is very comfortable taking aim duels, going into sites without using too many flashes.
Yeah, right now I think the question for MIBR is how much they're willing to adopt the European meta shift that we're seeing, because a lot of teams are actually adopting the more Spirit-esque approach to their CT sides on Mirage. I don't think MIBR have actively made that shift, and that can sometimes disconnect BR and Insani for some of those mid-control plays, which is just kind of the main focal point on this map, kind of traditionally. So I do worry that they maybe are a little bit behind the curve in that sense, but maybe they'll have answers, because BetBoom, they're going to scrap for it when they're on their CT side. I know that for sure.
Could it be a matter of them expecting BetBoom to play into Mirage, so they've prepped for it?
I think that that's definitely the case. Probably. Like, I'm sure they are expecting the Mirage pick to come through. I'm sure there's a lot of prep to come through. But actually, I think this is more of an anticipation of assuming that Nafani, and I think this is actually some respect being given out to Nafani and the BetBoom squad over there, that they would have been trying to anti-strat into the Ancient heavily, because MIBR has had moments of weakness on this map recently. It does look like they are trying to pivot away from that a little bit.
It's time to get into game. Our second matchup of Group D is about to kickstart. MIBR up against BetBoom. Dweg and Eternal J are ready. They're hyped, I think. Are you gents awake, alive this morning?
They're not.
Well, Sam, you should know me better by now to know that I am never awake this early in the morning. But I'm here regardless, alongside my co-commentator, Dwayne. And yes, we're ready to get into MIBR and BetBoom. Certainly some surprises not to get rid of that Mirage in terms of the veto, but I do agree with T-Time what you said on the desk. That back in the veto looks very encouraging for the Brazilian squad in my eyes.
Yeah, that was a wake-up call for me. I thought that it was certainly going to be a Mirage ban coming through for MIBR. I mean, the two options that BetBoom really have in local history, right, is Mirage or Ancient. So for MIBR, they did play it in the grand final in Melbourne, right? Down under the grand final land that they had against Aurora. They were able to get Aurora's map pick and Mirage in 2-0 best of 3. They haven't played it since then. So you're actually looking at Mirage not being played in an official capacity in nearly a month for MIBR.
And certainly the notion, obviously, there that they have at least prepared for this particular map. I mean, they wouldn't let it in if they didn't do so. And the idea of how strong it's been for the BetBoom side indicates to me that they want to try and take a fight out here. But considering how strong that one has been historically for these boys, I do sort of see this one being pushed to a 3-map affair, personally.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, for MIBR, they've been very strong locally. Now it's about trying to prove it on the international scale. We saw recently at the BetBoom Datra event, they were able to beat Aurora 2-0. Now, can they beat another CIS team?
Well, personally, I am going to predict into MIBR. I think they're going to take it in the second and third map-ups. For BetBoom, however, the first one of Mirage should be theirs to take as we start things off in our day here in the CCT Global Finals.
I'm going to join you on that one as well. I think it is going 3 maps, but I favour MIBR to get themselves off into a closer run to the playoffs drop. Missing out that boost to the apartments, so it does mean that the Julies can't quite set up.
Fast plays out of these 3 individuals. Drop trying his best to try and hold on to a kill. Instead it's Brendan that gets the opening kill back with his USP. And Sandy also trying to support. And contact shots not quite connecting to the players that are making fast moves with BetBoom. Plant is going to be secured here.
Coming in quickly with that P2K, but Magnajez is just not over-peaking here from the bench. Instead, just jiggling and finally taking a contact. The Goosh is coming in, meaning the exit is the last one left.
A moment is all it takes for Chiron and Magnajez to turn it all towards the favour of BetBoom now. Exit, seeing what else he can try and take out of this round. Julie's at least set a slightly better bit of firepower, but ultimately unable to mount up to the Glocks. Magna with a triple and a pistol game for BetBoom.
Now, MIBR have a fantastic track record in recent history. 26 out of their last 31 best of 3s on HLTV have been wins. Now, a lot of those victories are against local competition, but it's deeper runs, it's playoff positions, it's oftentimes grand final situations for them. So looking at this group with Astralis and Big in it, MIBR know, get off here to a good start, allow ourselves to win this best of 3 and help kind of catapult us to at least getting a top 8 finish.
It's only the starting games here in this group. Obviously a journey for one of these teams at the very least. BetBoom starting this journey off on the right foot. Dealing with the eco as well to follow it up at MIBR. Hoping for those early rifles on the 3rd round bye. So this should be a pretty easy cleanup for the Galil. Let's see what kind of damage these USPs can do. They have got Siren from Mid the Dink, and actually Insanity does finish off the kill against the man, but the AKs and the Galil able to respond in kind.
And this lineup does remind me quite similarly of the Paravision team that Jerry is running out in the CIS squad. You've kind of got experienced players, you've got guys that have played at a tier 1 level in the past, you've got a lot of chemistry in the team. I think the difference between the two is BetBoom are getting a lot more opportunities, right? They're getting a stronger tournament invites, they're participating in a higher end of tier 2, and also they haven't made many roster changes. The only roster change that we've seen BetBoom do is a couple of staff members in and out, and Magnajez being signed a couple of months ago. Outside of that, it's basically this exact same core and starting four for when the roster began in the first place.
And to their credit, they have had a number of Tier 1 appearances. Most recently, the ESL Pro League, they made it to the playoffs, but ultimately weren't able to go past your Aussie boys of FlyQuest.
I just remember the clip there of BetBoom celebrating when they saw the draw. And that's getting memed on now, isn't it, when you lose?
Famous last words, much. BetBoom. Famous opening back to Nathany. Brendan going to get caught off first and foremost. Did take a lot of damage with him on the way out.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough default to continue for BetBoom just because of the low HP markers of Nathany and Chiron. MIBR have got a fairly holding, sort of strong play out from both Connector and Window to have emphasis on potentially mid-taking in the round. BetBoom need to find another answer. Siren gonna get mollied there from underpass, and the clearance at top mid's not gonna feature any sight.
I'm trying to tap through that smoke and spot anything, but no one's really there to contact directly for BetBoom. 3 players have formed up towards ramp. 2 of them have been heavily tagged here. The other 2, of course, breaking their way in towards mid. So if the smoke starts coming down, this indicates a split play onto the A site. No gaps generated by that body block here. And Sani trying to spot, did hear footsteps, did take Magnajez out with that quick face back. The 4-on-4 has ensued, but now Zorti will make his own moves up. Footsteps to the right. Siren caught up towards Con, engagement him, and Sani trying desperately to get this trade together. Indeed he does, alongside exit support, and now the whole thing falls apart for BetBoom. MIBR may have lost the opening star, but everything since then has been all theirs as they take their first.
And Sani out there from the top of the stairs, and Connector really had emphasis on that fight, didn't he? Tagging up a Siren in sort of the back corner rather than just kind of falling off and repositioning to sandwich, or perhaps waiting for that smoke to clear. He has that go for that he has to make the play, that he has to overextend. I bet BetBoom may have won the opening pick out there from mid, but they get absolutely challenged on that split out to the A side.
And guns will still be set back in by the T side, of course. And the rifle held in by the MIBR side. Fast executions from BetBoom very fast into this round. Exit is fast on the opening kill as well, but Magnajez able to respond, keeping the man advantage at evens. And Sani's forced to fight out in the open. Safe is forced to trade him back. Siren is such low HP. Safe continuing to frag away, triple in for the man. And MIBR, clean house again.
Exit's actually done very well there in the top bout position. So he's getting mollied out from Magnajez. He has to keep fighting, and he gets away with a fair amount of information. He knows that it's a heavy commit, because it could have just been a bit of a double pump, right? It could have just been the util going out and not the run out from A-main. So he deals with that first player crossing past Tetris and spots another handful in that main position. So the counter util is just get those flashes out high. And I liked the emphasis for MIBR to not give respect to the bomb plant, to not just fall back and play retake. Instead, they wanted to keep fighting. They wanted to keep challenging out there towards main and Tetris.
One of those 2 confidence rounds, BetBoom are forced to take back to the pistols. On-plant bonus is lacking. The Deagle forced to fight on Magnajez. Did spot the man at Drail. Doesn't quite find his backup though. At least he's going to be aware of that much. Now the rest of the T-side players may be forced to act. Miss Molotovs don't quite help the situation for MIBR, but similarly so for BetBoom. They've lost 2 players.
Yeah, BetBoom are just hoping for a tiny amount of expense in a round like this. But it seems unlikely that much really gets gathered.
Sani uses those sprays together. Siren does end up with 1 decent pick. That's as far as it will go for the Glocks, however. MIBR might have lost the opening start, but everything else has started to come in confident for them. The lead and everything. Need to see some gun buys from the T-side action. And the first tactical of the day is called in by them.
And the desk was kind of talking about the fact that MIBR running a 7-map map pool, that they don't have an instaban. That wasn't always the case. Their instaban used to be overpass. So this was kind of a blessing in disguise, right? Map change comes into the pool, and now it's like, okay, well, this is great. We can just start banning whatever our opponent's strengths are. And so far, in the recent officials that we've seen from them with Dust 2 in the map pool, they've been banning a bit of Nuke, bit of Mirage, bit of Inferno, bit of Anubis, just whatever they feel least comfortable on against their opponent. In terms of the picks, Anubis and Vertigo and Ancient, 3 maps where you would normally expect that MIBR have a lot of leverage towards. But in this isolated day, they look at Ancient and say, no, we're not happy for it. MIBR up by 1. BetBoom looking to try and respond in a gun round now.
Mid-face of 2 players to me. Nathany wants nothing to do with that. Hearing all that utility come down, is like, yeah, do you know what? I'm happy to go back to old zaps. Drop, meanwhile, spotting from the forward of Apps. Smokes and Molotovs involved, and Sani does get caught at that opening kill, but Exit is so fast to respond. Every time MIBR lose one of these picks, there's another player quick to respond to it.
BetBoom are getting no comfortability on the default at all right now. Every time they're trying to take space, they are engaging into a fight. Exit is in a strong position to draw attention away and try and set up drop in this cubby angle.
Reload's going to draw attention over to his jump face, and 2 players spotted. Magnajet so focused on the van position, drop allowed to fight and get a kill back. Chiron gets 2 to respond, however, advantage now for BetBoom definitively.
Chiron's done well with the entries to brute force that open. That bait and switch looked like it was going to do a lot of damage.
MIBR now locked out of the bomb site. Safe from Brendan is probably just to hold on to their weapons here. No workability, even with Chiron being as tagged as he was, just the lack of map control in that position. MIBR just have to concede a third back to BetBoom. We've got a fight on our hands.
And BetBoom are in a bit of an odd period right now, where they're not a def team in Tier 2, but they're also not a consistent team in Tier 1. So they're in sort of this limbo period where the Tier 1 opportunities are coming, but it's some early exits. You mentioned Pro League, out to the first round of playoffs to FlyQuest. The BetBoom Datcha event, out in last place, losing to Mouse and Falcons. The RMR, they were unsuccessful to make it to the major, had to go to the decider game, lost out to Guild Eagles without even taking a map, and then in the Tier 2 scene, top 4 in Res, top 3 in Sky Esports Masters. They won the A1 Gaming League, but back-to-back grand final exits in CCT Season 2 Cups. They've got to try and find more stability on the online environment and prove that they can always be a threat, that they can always go deep, and that they can hang with teams like an MIBR.
Encouraging to know that they are on successful territory in the CCT circuit, obviously with those 2 grand finals. Trying to springboard that into the global finals. Right now they are being tested by MIBR. Squared up in the first quarter of the matchup. BetBoom not be allowed to win Mirage very easily. That much has become very clear in the first few. Safe. He pixels away from spotting contact, and as Magnajet's about to put utility out, it'll instantly get taken down. Meanwhile, mid-walks of Nafni are going to miss out the angle onto Brendan, but this backstab could work up so well against the B-side defense.
This should be a round-winning play right now for Nafni. He's got 2 options. He can backstab CT or he can backstab Market. Whichever way he does, as long as he has trigger discipline, he should be able to multi-frag.
He's there to cut rotations for the time being, but wraparound backstab. Oh, turned away
timing.
from CT spawn angles. Exit is going to catch him. Oh, Nafni. Usually patience would work up there, but no, not this time. Not for BetBoom. Down to 3 players, and Brendan and Co are so ready for this execution. Only 30 seconds left to make it happen. The Molotov start coming out. The AWP does miss one, but Brendan's seeing nothing more on the bomb site, so they know that the immediate threat isn't there. And rotations and counter backstabs at the CT side are coming in. Finally, Siren has picked one up. Chiron is going to force out the back lane, 3-on-3.
And backstabbing the apartments could do a lot of damage, especially with this distraction going on.
Being watched though, Zorti's back turn, but Siren protects him. Drop has been dropped, and then Sally and Exit make their moves forward. Exit with a kill. Siren and Zorti clean up the last 2. BetBoom, what's a wild recovery.
Well, I'm not really sure how that's happened, to be honest there, Jay. When you get an opening pick from the AWP into the apartments, the drop down comes in, you then have Nafni in a powerful position, a round-winning position, and the timing goes against him. It's a kill from Exit out from CT, it's a 5-on-3. Those are the rounds that should be getting won. Instead, both of the B players just get overwhelmed. Safe misses a fairly easy AWP shot on the drop down from the apartments. He gets overwhelmed from short, and then the player on the backside corner just gets wide swung upon. BetBoom individually get themselves out of trouble on B.
Instant second tactical for the BetBoom side though, because it could have looked like a much more confident round. One missed decision. Only 2 players stayed alive in that one. Economy looking weakened for BetBoom, but not as weakened as it is for MIBR. There's no true investment for this next round.
Now, MIBR have got a good track record against BetBoom in recent history. Played each other a couple of times towards the tail end of last year. Once in November and once in December. Both being 2-0s. Both being quite comfortable. Mirage did get featured for a 13-9 for MIBR.
Love to repeat performance. Caught off on the initial contact at the CT side. They do get that opening, but once again, the rifles are just too small to deal with, and that one flash was the only thing that they had to play with. It's already been used, not to the effect of the man advantage, and not to the effect of the round steal or that much damage done towards BetBoom. Economy basis will not be affected. They'll be allowed to build as well MIBR into the rifle buy.
And this is BetBoom's 18th Mirage pick in the last 3 months of best 3 history on HLTV out of the 39th best of 3s that they're playing now. It's their go-to one in the pool. They actually used to pick a little bit of Overpass when it was still involved. So in the current day, it's Mirage and Ancient as the 2 go-tos. BetBoom, and from a scoreline perspective, have actually got themselves in a good position.
Indeed they have. 2 rounds up, 1 away from tying up the half at minimum, but safe. Going to start off again, picking up the captain of the T side. Frag found, Siren getting 2 chances to get 2 kills. Only one of them comes through to effect, and the AWPer is ready to adjust towards Palace. Magnajez dropping next, 2 versus 4, making it 1 as Kyron's caught on timing, and Zorzi now detected.
Yeah, pretty much nothing that he's going to be able to do from this bottom con and bench position. Nice sequence there from the AWPer to get the first kill once more, work a 5v4, and then get yourself in a really off angle for an AWP, right? Sometimes you get on top of Ticket there and you're holding down from main, but to actually hold the Palace walk is unorthodox. Safe. Can he get the triple? Of course he can. MIBR with a real confident round, and that's going to add a lot of positivity after a previous gun round that you'd have to say should have been won from the 5-on-3.
MIBR just continuing to keep pace as much as they can. BetBoom. Finding small answers, need some big answers though. CD side very heavily contested here by the Brazilian squad, and well, they said on the actually hopefully coming into a game plan. They certainly have executed a game plan to respectable success thus far. Still down on the back foot, but that could all change with Insani in towards mid. Nafany again is the first man to fall. Meanwhile, the true execution comes in from Ramp. MIBR have got exit back here, engaging onto 3 players, finding one of those kills, eventually getting that second. Even the third transfer gets a shot up before he falls, but Siren trading back. 3-on-2, nades on the center of the bomb site. Siren trying to force out even more fights from stairs. Closes Insani, gets his next pick, his double up in this round. Magnum Jez needs a full-on triple in a 1-on-3. He's only on 22 HP.
Oh, he's just done for. He might be able to get away with 1 pick, but he should get traded straight away. First player is going to be an easy pick for Magnachez, but even now, position's given up. He gives himself a lurk smoke.
Watching the wrong players, had to pre-aim all those heads and get them on the first taps.
They're liking the A-pops at the moment, aren't they? We're seeing quite a lot of these A-aggressive maneuvers.
There might be locking BetBoom out of the executions. 5 apiece thanks to their efforts, and again, a key issue for BetBoom in these losing rounds has been lack of the bomb plants.
And just because of how aggressive these rounds have been, it's actually felt like we're speedrunning through this half. The rounds are actually over very quickly.
Maybe I would love a quick 2-0. I think about this early matchup as early as possible. BetBoom trying to cling on for dear life in this half. The ecos will lead towards the final round bye in round 12. Best they can do at this stage, given the circumstances. Again, that money game has been a key concern, so they'll just continue to fight with those pistols. Do get a couple kills out of it, but the Molotovs will still burn them away. Drop getting Siren, Chiron on half. Picked up an M4. But all the CTs are out here to defend against. Safe will pick up Nafany. And Chiron, the best he can do is pretty meaningless damage at this stage. Even with 3 players down, Vise will still be involved for the CT forces. MIBR will face one final bye.
And we haven't really seen MIBR in Mirage recently at all. I know I mentioned it earlier, they haven't played it in about a month, but when you compare the other maps in the pool, Nuke 18 times in the last 3 months, Vertigo at 21, Ancient at 19, Anubis at 16, feels like Mirage, it doesn't get played frequently. A lot of local results for them, 6 wins and 2 losses in the last 3 months. And getting a stint of what it's like to play it in Europe.
Minimum 6 hit by the Brazilian. Shoulder baits out from that. He's safe, holds his nerve, but he won't be able to hold on forever. Siren quick to the trade back, keeping it in even stances, but further face from Insanity trying to get involved. Did spot the player over at the stack. Jump face saw the head. The HGs will come through against Chiron. Only doing so much damage there, though.
A drop with a very aggressive position in the apartment. Siren looks like he's going to try and clear it and get that frag back.
Responsive still from Brendan and from mid, even catching the AWP, but Flick's not connecting from Zorti. Double up found with the M4, but he jumps into Magnajez, who turns it back to a 2-on-2. Brendan is low HP. Exit suspects the Siren is close, and indeed that smoke gives up the ghost here. They're not looking to act too aggressively, though. They're not sure of the split play. They're not sure where that second man is coming in from. Ooh, back to turned exit. Here's the footsteps, knows exactly what to do. Get that shot in, quickly deal with Magnajez, who gets out of dodge pretty quickly. Second man has rotated to position though. MIBR have a 2 versus 1, and Magnajez has no chance to deal with exit. MIBR take the half.
I actually thought for a moment there that wasn't going to play off there for Exit. He's actually done everything right. Trigger discipline, kill the first player, and then try and deny the bomb from going down and get the kill instantly. And Magnajez gets off of the bomb and actually tucks around to security. Well, all I can say in that first half is that Safe has been the king of the opening picks, isn't he? That was the only round where he wasn't able to survive, that he was getting traded quickly. But just that raw impact to constantly get that AWP in action.
MIBR bolstering up and now looking towards their offensive half. 2 rounds in the lead. BetBoom. He's biting for a pistol. Relieve massive pressure right now. Going once again into these A pops. It's MIBR that take the brunt of it. Flashbangs and Gucci down towards Chiron. The Julie set towards Dark. Struggling to get the kill for Magnajez. He gets it together in the end. He loses his teammate. He's now all alone. Lines up a couple and does drop one of them. 3-on-3 with Brenton's trade.
And Drop's trying to cut a rotation out from mid, and the angle is there from Zorti, but the bullets don't connect.
And Siren can take Brenton down, now down to 2 players at MIBR. They're so close to the bomb site, the Glock tries to swing, he gets nothing out for it. And BetBoom indeed secure the pistol, also denying bomb plants on MIBR.
Another one of those quicker rounds, even at the shift of the half. MIBR just fly out of the gate, try and get those trades down towards underpass. And I suppose you do know that if that Glock finds the kill against Siren, it's a different round. It's a moment there where it's a man advantage, it's distraction getting pulled from under window and towards connector. But not to be. BetBoom come one more to try to tie up the scoreline.
And once again, no aggressive buys. MIBR. No cash bonus, so this one should go to 7 apiece. Haven't seen many eco steals or even that much damage done with upgrade pistols or even the basics. It's a very slow approach to round 14.
And there's a lot of people that look at Magnajez and say, oh yeah, I remember him from Spirit Academy, a little bit of a stint on K23. People don't really know that he used to play with Railway, and Railway is the head coach of BetBoom. And they played over 60 maps together on HLTV, on Indie Ray and Boston Crab, and even that K23 roster. And then Chiron, Railway, and Celta all sort of played events together in on that Boston Crab roster too. So you've kind of got a little bit of a mix of players that have all been involved with Magnajez. So there's that little connection in there with BetBoom.
The reason why he's part of this roster are the recommendations of that head coach.
How many times have we seen that? I mean, OG is a prime example.
Well, they went out in last place in the CCT Global Finals, so
they did.
Let's wonder if that's an omen for things to come for BetBoom. For now, they are even against MIBR. And the Rifles return from the T side. Trying to get involved first and foremost here in this half. Set in for Zorti towards apartments, drop and Brenzin down towards underpass. 2 more players towards top mid. BetBoom are contesting this position.
A lot of respect given, similar to what the first half was like. Magnajez is waiting for the platform out there to the underpass and spot 2 with the jump face.
Instantly out of there. He's got HEs. If he places that right, he might catch both those players on tags. Boost up from drop, trying to look in towards that sniper's nest. There is a bit of an apartments push coming in from BetBoom. Drop. Takes that fight and wins it out. Takes a dink back, but the AK goes one better than the M4. The push over at ramp can set off an off-site position to try and deal with this retake, because MIBR are going to burst in, and surely they should get the bomb plant.
Siren might actually be able to disallow it. They're going to think that they can plant open for Con here.
Slow walking, no one's watching it. Someone is now, he turns away at the wrong moment. Siren enabled for a kill, a double, running out of ammo, but Drop doesn't trade him. He's so low HP. Zorti's orb strikes back to a 2 versus 2 meanwhile. And MIBR, time against them. 20 seconds, need to get this plant in soon, and they just keep facing Nafany, who does get traded, but it's far too late now. 1 man left, Drop needs headshots, will get none of them. Siren to close for BetBoom to reinstate the lead.
And it's an impressive round from Siren because of 2 reasons, Jay. The first one is he's made the info play so they can stack up A. They can allow themselves to have a strong crossfire, but also that he can get that backstab in for damage. Now, if you are MIBR, you've just come up connector, you've opened up the bomb site with a kill from Drop out there in window, you want to plant open for connector. You want to try and capitalize on that space. And what Siren does is just gets involved with 2 kills and backs off. I love how quickly he gets back to cover after finding those 2.
MIBR with only pistols. They're going to go back to the basic set pieces. Mentioned the multiple A hits from BetBoom during their T-side line. MIBR going to try and replicate. The smoke's been a little bit late as they act before they start to bloom. Nafany just gets 2 quick kills as a result. No vision blocking the flashbang of Chiron. Provides extra support for that man as well. Even 4 kills coming in for the captain. And Chiron will close out with his own piece of the pie. All 5 alive for BetBoom. Rebuys will need to be required for MIBR. They're starting to lose their grip.
And we'll never know the outcome of what could have happened if Mirage got banned and Ancient got played instead. But I'm sure Nafany and Railway here at BetBoom are trying to make it quite known and kind of push the pressure back onto MIBR and say, you did make a mistake here. We're going to come out into Mirage and we're going to have a solid second half performance. We're going to try and clean this map up and get ourselves a first map victory in the head-to-heads.
Quick up towards mid for Magna Jeds, finding exit. Exited out of the round. Orpa may be exposed out here past the smokes. There's no real contention from BetBoom in mid. A lot of the attention from MIBR switches over towards the apartments where Siren is holding.
Safe is going to have to make something happen out from mid. Get a response, try and pull a bit of a rotation away. Might be an opportunity for a kill towards short.
Got spotted though, and the op shot brings out the HG's down against the T side. Certainly going to assist in suppression of that incendiary that also came through. Damage done to Brenzin. It might be all completely cancelled.
And the issue now is there's a lack of map control. They do not even know if Palace has been overtaken. They don't know if Ramp has even been taken with a bit of a jiggle. So they're going to have to slow it and clear out the majority of these cubby quarters. BetBoom are in a really strong position, and looking with how this round could go down without a bomb plant, we could be looking at an 11-7 scoreline for BetBoom.
Opportunities to invest have been limited for MIBR. Flashing their way into ramp control, 30 seconds. A dry face may come in the second half. Flash is actually being lined up here. Zorti still connects the shot, pulling the trigger onto Drop. He's hunting for more here, may even get it. Nafany's going to deal with the player over at Palace. Zorti ends up with his double, and Brenzin can only do so much in a 1 versus 5. BetBoom are just in full control here. Double digits taken, no money to reinvest for MIBR once again. And that fight we saw in the first half has completely disappeared in the second.
And how frequently do we say that if you are a team on an opposition's map pick, you got to take your chances? And I reflect back on that 5v3 round where Siren's got the backstab into connector. If Insani was able to get that trade, if he ended up falling after getting those 2 kills, how different could this second half really be? Could we have a bit more of a competitive edge? Could we have MIBR getting a round streak together? When you're not taking those chances, it's going to hurt you. And BetBoom and now feel as if they're in sort of touching distance of being able to close this first map.
Only 3 rounds to get there. Realistically, 2 be the key tasks against the MIBR side. This round specifically is a hero weapon. Galil on drop with half invested pistols around it. Buying the next, broken for the one afterwards. They don't get a bomb plants in. MIBR, a bit of a dire spot. Tech9s are swinging in first and foremost. HG's the Magnajet trying to reveal Exit has done the damage against the man, but he's not seen by the AK. The engagement of Insani gets his 2 taps of the Deagle. 4 versus 4 actually, as Chiron responds towards Bren's in. Sprays blinded for Nafany. Doesn't force the bomb planter off.
Now, Chiron can be the late round player to just try and deal with these players in jungle, but there could be a backstab being presented from Exit. The Galil drop needs to strike when the smoke clears.
Smokes come down. Thieves tap once, drops going to engage against Siren, but his continuous spray going to get caught back. Exit and Brent and Insani still turn it back to the man advantage. They're both tagged up heavily, and Nafany, similar story for him. 12 points of health, holding the defuse. Knives are pulled out, and Insani's going to get him. MIBR stave off the dangerous stances of BetBoom.
And that's really come out of nowhere, isn't it? Kind of one of those rounds where you think, oh, okay, got the bomb down, probably going to get cleaned up. You got players out in sort of connector, CT, out of the bomb site already, and then you start looking at the kill feed, and there's a Deagle kill, there's a Tech9 kill, and then it's a 2v1 for the T side. MIBR, that is an absolute gift of a steal.
And finally, they start in the half. Now they need to convert it. AK's out for everyone, the AWP in on safe. Was a bit of a mid-luck coming in from Exit, but he's going to roll right the way back in and join his teammates for another set piece.
And Nafany on the backside box, if the molly comes into Underdark, he won't get mollied so he can hold. Re-smoke out to Palace, might cancel.
Molly comes forward to the T side, secondary utility on the way in. Molotovs will not burn to Nafany, is on top of the box. Exit is going to check this. Not all the way. Nafany with 2 kills, a triple even found, but a captain of BetBoom USP pulled out, does even more damage. Insani at least turns it back on his head, but Siren is there for the last 2, will only get one of them. His teammates are there for the rest. Instant response from BetBoom.
And it's such a strong pulse and often underutilized on the city side of Mirage. There's so many mollies are going down there for MIBR. We're seeing one from Sandwich, one from Bench, one on the top of balcony, another one to go onto the under balcony. But it's Nafany, who really has no support. He does not have another teammate on the site to crossfire. They're rotating in from CT. They're hanging behind the util in jungle and con. Excellent round for the IGL.
Assumed it was clear to the molly. And you assume you make an ass out of you and me. More specifically of MIBR right now. Had their chance to get involved. Now they have wasted an opportunity to hold on to contention of Barrage. BetBoom running away with this CT side now. Only a couple more to go. The Brazilians are just desperate for a responsive.
And Managers knows that there's a player down there under window. Safe. Hoping for a bit of a reposition from one of the players in spawn. Smoke off top con. This can installate that B split potential.
Option to work for an angle over at the mid position. I'll opt to fall back and again look to join the A split.
Very good positions. I mean, anytime you got a default of a ladder player and a top comp player, you put yourself in a good scenario. The issue is that Magnajez has dry cleaned out that connector area.
Brenton just caught napping. Didn't get a chance to pull the trigger at Nafany. Second teammate back over towards spawn, starting to take wider faces. The AWP of Safe takes 2 shots against them. Will at least suppress and allow that bomb plant to come in relatively safely. BetBoom on the retake.
MIBR want to try and fight as much as they can towards the connector sight line. They have no emphasis towards CT at the moment.
Smoke's close towards it. Flashbang sent. The AWP undetected. Drop. Pull the tension away from it, allowing a kill for him and one for Safe. Second one for the AWP. Doesn't come back. Siren can respond towards it, but he can't find any more. Just bullets flying his direction. He's tagged low. Kyron tagged for dead. Siren eventually finished off, and the AWP is Zorzi. Cannot get past Drop. His triple installs. MIBR another round.
And money's not in a great state here at all for BetBoom. You've got Magnajez up at 7k, but everybody else is not in buying position. So this might be a bit of a hero where they invest into an M4, but it should be a lighter buy for everybody else.
MIBR clinging on to any chance they can gain.
I was worried about Exit too, because he was in ladder trying to cut that rotation from B, and nothing was presenting. He was just not getting any action, and then probably, after half of the timer of the bomb is ticked already, he finally capitalizes on a player coming into window and jungle.
Ooh, Magnajez close against Exit. Is the Eagle struck? AK pulled out. Oh, the orbit's dropped. BetBoom could steal to MIBR. Magnajez could steal MIBR. Drops caught. Brenzin down to USP. It is all fallen to pieces. 1 on 5. Not even any damage done. And it will remain that way for that round. A quadra from Magnajez. And it's over.
Oh, I can't believe it. Eco for you, eco for us. Oh, we only saw it a few rounds ago. Magnajez. Just the livid nature to continue fighting. And once he's picked up that AK in top mid, you just get that vibe. You get that feeling that it is on.
Look at him. Look at him on the camera. He's smirking like a little devil. He knows what he's just done. Map point for BetBoom. MIBR in the worst position possible, honestly. Rebuys because they're kind of going to need it right here. They have a few AKs, but Scout on Safe, Deagle on Exit. You would hope for a lot more to go against the map points. 3 of them available for BetBoom, and MIBR will need all 3 to take us to overtime. Passive positions, and you can see Magnajez with his confidence opting to go up mid again.
Zorti winning out that first fight. And now you just start feeling to yourself, is there any chance of a recovery? Magnajez doesn't quite get the kill, but the HG placement's going to do some further chip. Brenzin down to 25.
MIBR getting cleaned up now. Magnajez and Zorti. 3 picks between them, 2 apiece in the rounds. And last round of Exit. Faced upon, Magnajez doesn't quite close it, but his teammates certainly will at 19 points of health. Exit will not be clutching this. It will be 13-9 for BetBoom to lock in Mirage in their map pick.
So lads, are you going to ban Mirage next time around? That is a MIBR side that gave us a good fight of contention in the first half, Jay, but let themselves down in the second because BetBoom looked like they couldn't be touched.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were all surprised by that veto. We honestly thought the Mirage was going to be the default ban for MIBR coming in against BetBoom, and maybe that was the mistake that they had made in terms of that particular process. But look, maps 2 and maps 3, they are stronger elements for the likes of the Brazilian side. So I'm imagining that coming into the rest of this series, things could still come together for them.
You'd think so. I mean, for MIBR, this is now a wake-up call to know that, okay, this is going to be a competitive series. BetBoom playing very well. Even the last few rounds from Magnajez, he was starting to farm, wasn't he?
Indeed he was. Eco steals and everything looking fantastic for the likes of MIBR. Still, BetBoom turning back over towards their first map. So, it's back to the desk for now.
The cast has mentioned it lots. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We can go back to the veto. It doesn't matter. It's been done. We saw what happened here on Mirage. I want to go all the way back to the beginning, though, and start talking about the first half, which is where we saw MIBR kind of evening it out with BetBoom. They looked reasonably strong. What did we like from both of these teams' performances in that first half?
I think BetBoom actually just did a really good job of finding these late round kills and actually entry frags on both players like Kyron and Siren throughout that T-side half. In general, I don't think BetBoom's approach could really be criticized. There were a lot of opening picks that MIBR were getting away with in early rounds by adjusting the way that they were playing and actually just moving around that safe AWP. I do think that we had an extra caliber from BetBoom that was kind of absent from MIBR, because we saw really good diligence from BetBoom, but we saw some rounds of negligence thrown in there from MIBR as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There were definitely some problems going on. You know, there's a round we're not going to call the replay for because there's something even better that happened later on. But, you know, there's a round where Nafany in the 7th round managed to creep past jungle and whatnot, get behind him, exits completely unaware about the possibility of actually creeps, anyone boosting into window and going forward. They almost win the round regardless, but this is where BetBoom did show errors. They showed some pretty massive errors, but the difference was that they had the firepower to bail themselves out of it. 4 of their 5 players at the end of it all had like 5 multi-kills across the game each. That's kind of crazy when you think about how much was needed to win them that game.
The second half, though, you saw BetBoom on CT side just took full control, and MIBR did not have a single answer for them. I mean, you've spoken a little bit about why you think that is, but does that continue into that second half?
I think so. Unfortunately, MIBR never really got in good positions. Like, no, they wanted to fight for early control in their default, and then a player would die, and then they'd have to readjust and refinagle. I don't think they actually kept true to their opening round philosophy or opening round game plan until we saw them on like low buy rounds, which I don't, you know, you don't have the facilities to really bring that in, unfortunately. And the thing is, MIBR actually did win one of those low buy rounds on their T side, but there was very little behind the rifles, unfortunately.
And it does feel like that some of this conversation, both for the CT and T-Half, does go back towards what we talked about, that MIBR, when their structure falls through, so one of their players does die or something like it, you don't really know who's going to come out over here and make the individual play in the same sense. MIBR had a few very good rounds. They had a great post-plant situation in a 4 versus 5 as well on the T side. But again, it just felt like the difference was that BetBoom had individual players that were empowered to go out, find a pick, make a play, and I think that was seen best in the round we're about to show you guys in the eco round that they managed to win, which really did just flip everything on its head at the end of things.
Oh yeah, this was so upsetting to watch as well, because you thought MIBR might have been able to strike into some level of consistency, and then this MagnoJez happens to them, unfortunately. This guy powered up for the last few rounds of this half, and MIBR couldn't, I mean, they just didn't have the room to adjust. They were already backed up against the wall for most of this half.
If we're watching this, and we'll keep watching the replay as we go, but obviously what you can see on your screen is what we were telling you, which is that BetBoom just had the number of MIBR here throughout their map pick. But we are now moving on to MIBR's map pick. Are you expecting anything different, or based off what you've just seen from BetBoom, do you think that they might be able to close this out 2-0?
I think that MIBR, and this is where we go back towards the metagame discussion that Michael was referring to for Mirage, MIBR actually did look quite out of date with what's being done overall right now in terms of individual playmaking. I think that's not going to be the case with Vertigo at all. I think Vertigo hasn't seen as many shifts and turns. It's still down to some very similar things around wrap control and rotating between sites, and I think MIBR does a magnificent job of manipulating that. That being said, we have seen some really good individual playmaking that is likely going to continue from the BetBoom side.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think BetBoom have the firepower to actually cause that upset on Vertigo, but I won't mistake that for me thinking that MIBR are going to crumble or capitulate coming into this map, understanding that maybe they made a mistake in the veto, sure, but Vertigo is very safe territory for them. They do great map control on A ramp. They have great lurks as well, either from exit or Insani that seem to interchange from time to time. I don't think that this should end in a 2-0.
Mirage is done, but you know we've got some more maps up for grabs coming up, but we're going to give you some time to go get some snacks, so go do that. We'll be back in a bit.
here.
The world is changing, but one thing remains the same. Victories with 1xBet.
Are you sick of just opening cases? Join the events. At each event, you can find special cases from which tokens fall. Tokens are your ticket into a world of unique awards. For tokens, you can buy a skin, premium, or special balance. Try your luck in the skin generator. Also, you can leave your tokens at the token vault. And the more tokens you keep, the better skin you'll get. Add variety to opening cases with Hellcase.
Pick 'em live. Make your choice. Play Pick'em and get your prize.
Well, BetBoom rightfully holding on to their own map pick, but now the back end of the veto kicks in. Again, as we said at the start of the show, everyone's sort of in agreement that for MIBR, this Vertigo should seemingly be theirs on paper. And look, with the way things have worked out over in that first half, I definitely felt like they had a good game plan to what BetBoom were doing there.
Yeah, I actually don't know if it's going to a third. I think there's a chance here for a Vertigo steal for BetBoom, and the reason for it is that for MIBR, they've played it just once in the last month. They haven't played many officials on this recently, and for BetBoom, look at what they did at BetBoom Dacha. I mean, they took Mals to overtime, they took Falcons to double digits of a 10th round. It's not a big chance, but I would say that there is a chance of BetBoom to get a 2-0.
I mean, equally, though, you take a look at what MIBR did at BetBoom Dacha, and the idea that they had this map up under the likes of Heroic, and they actually beat them pretty handily all the same. I mean, look, if you want to use that event as a comparison, you know, between the two teams, then that obviously has got to be a point towards MIBR's favour. Like, yes, it's not as played often, especially in their European campaign right now, but in my eyes, I don't think that that's going to be much of a hindrance for the MIBR camp. I do believe we're going towards map 3 here.
I mean, again, that second half of Mirage was very flat. I think BetBoom were the far better team. They were far more superior. And if we get a good performance out of Managez, if we get Zorti consistency on the big green, it's going to test MIBR. And the Brazilians know this could be a long day, right? With how the group stage is playing out today, you could be playing a lot of officials. You've got to try and bounce back and give us that positive edge, get us towards that decider.
Yeah, there is a chance that both of these teams, or one or both of these teams, could well be taking a full 3 matchup, 3 best of 3 day if things get really unlucky for them. So I definitely want to try to see if they can wrap this up into maybe for BetBoom that is a bit of an intangible, like again that human element thing I talked about yesterday, that they might want to just get involved very quickly and take this in a simple enough fashion. And look, right, they have got credentials behind them in terms of doing that, but I also think that there was some merits for MIBR during that first map up, even if it was very, very dire towards the end. So I'm still backing them to take this one here. They will be on the T side start of our second map.
Just knowing that this gets played so frequently in the local scene, you know that it's going to get a lot of wins. 16 wins and 5 losses in the last 3 months, whereas just 4 wins and 6 losses for BetBoom. Quick, out of the gate towards the B stairs. Magnagez hearing everything.
USP standing to attention, taking some engagements against them, unable to find the full-blown kills here. They quickly make their way out as drop involved. Brendan also following suit with his own trade, safe for the follow-up on that. He turns it to a 4-on-2 in the post plant.
Zorti with the backstab out from the stairs might actually be speed depleted on how much impact he can find. Exit's been able to get right out to the left-hand side.
Fought upon by the Julies, Exit still gets the headshot, and Chiron is all that remains. 1-on-4 well outside of the bomb site, and well outside of this round, the pistol will go the way of MIBR.
Hashtag set the pace. Very quick on the T side there for MIBR, just flying it up from the stairs, pretty much dealing with the mid players over Guardian and CT on that initial contact. BetBoom tried to keep it chaotic with the trades, but weren't able to do so successfully. So, MIBR can get things started in the right direction.
That they can. Positive start to the T side and looking to put a front foot forward and carry that forward for the rest of the entire game.
And they were talking about it on the desk, I should say, right? The whole idea that it's going to be Mirage or it's going to be Ancient. Now, if you look at it from the other perspective, if we look at it from the side and the POV of BetBoom, well, you know that MIBR are pretty much going to pick Vertigo or Anubis, and it's not going to be any other map. So perhaps we could see a little bit of prep here from Nafany.
They're going to buy things up, try to see if they can apply said prep. Force the issue here into this second round. SMGs and FAMASs and pistols on a couple of players, of course, but MIBR facing into the weakened bomb site. 3 players do rotate back here eventually to get on the defensive line, and they do drop that first player. Exit with a responsive, and Insanity will follow it up towards outside of the site. Quick burst on this Galil turns into a double. And the site take into a 3-on-2. Trade still coming in very quickly for this CT side line. A couple of rifles sent away by the HGs, but it doesn't matter too much. Brendan still holds on to the kill count, and MIBR still hold on to the round.
And it's a shame that both rounds, both the pistol and the anti-force buy, they've got no one on B directly. They've got more of a heavier A stack, and they've got more players defensively in mid. So MIBR, both times, just kind of walk in, set the util, and clear out the bomb site with ease.
2 pretty confident rounds.
Where do you reckon they're going this round, Joe?
We're going to take a wild guess and go to B, yeah?
Yeah, B again, baby. 3 times the charm.
Well, look, we're rolling. They're going round towards A, so...
hang on. Let's see where they go at the end round. Let's see if they're just prodding towards ramp for the moment.
The stack from BetBoom has actually been completely pulled for a loop. So like, they were ready for it to be 3 times the charm, but... Nah, not to be on this one. MIBR, at least not rushing into the bomb site. They're still playing with their food here.
And now they're running into the A stack. BetBoom. We've seen some good deagle action from Magnagez. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with a few upgrades.
P250 also right in front of him. 5-7 on the man. It does engage against Brendan, who's duly still win out the fight on Chiron despite being low HP. Ooh. Good flashbang, and it was a handful of kills there for the CT forces. 1-on-2 now for Nafany. And it's not impossible that he gets one more kill out of this round. Brendan is so low. And Sani is the guy to worry about.
This is so winnable. This is on for Nafany.
USP though against them, and now he's spotted 39 points of health, trying to upgrade to a P250. Needs the headshot on the first man. He'll do tons of damage. That did get very dicey, I will admit, for MIBR.
Maybe there are some concerns that we need to consider as an overall best-of-3 picture of anti-ecos for this Brazilian squad. We saw the still out there from Magnagez towards top mid on Mirage that basically finished off the job. And right there, we're looking at some 5.7s, some P250s. There was only one person with armor, and yet that nearly becomes an entire round victory.
MIBR find themselves a little bit weakened on the economy state. Therefore, BetBoom, the buy-up right here, a chance to start swinging momentum towards their favor, and very early swing round at that. Flash forward, Nafany. Press with his teammates as well towards his ramp default. 3 players total over on the A defensive, 2 of which are taking the aggressive stances, and Chiron is credited with the opening kill.
BetBoom heavily engaging with 3 towards ramp. Missed Molly out there to gap means that Brendan needs to cancel. MIBR making more noise out there with the burning of the Molly. 4 on A for the moment of BetBoom. There might even be a boost up at yellow.
Brendan and Exit start moving. Chiron just barely seen. They do run that trade in the end, and Brendan's going in for a little bit more, but eventually Siren will take him and his teammate. Double up, triple foul of the M4. Caught on the reload, and Stanley can trade it, but now he's all alone. 1 versus 4 for him. Caught that first and that second kill. And that third. Oh, the burst through towards the Quadra. And in a matter of moments, MIBR steal it right back.
And just when it looked like it was completely over, that initial contact out with the opening kill, the retake of the mini ramp, the fight emphasis towards that crane area. Siren gets a couple of kills, and it seems quite laxed on the bomb site. He can fall back, play the man advantage, establish crossfires, and then all of a sudden the clutch comes through.
All right, BetBoom, early tactical, probably rightfully so. Because you're right, if they had played it passive, maybe it probably should have been their round, honestly.
And we know that BetBoom are an emotional team. We know that they can be quite tilt. I imagine that mental is going to be tested in a round like that, because that is free. That is yours.
Might be the key reason why they're taking attack in the first place, just to keep their mentality in check.
Just to settle, just to realize that if we make mistakes like that even one more time, MIBR is just going to take this map, and we're not going to have much of a contest.
And T-side starts strong. BetBoom, knowing they brought it down to one player in the previous round, still have the cash to afford some rifles. Majority of the masses, though, M4s will take first fight. Dish out quite a hefty amount of damage to the opening two. Safe Sport down to 45, Renzin down to less than 60. Beyond those smokes, 4 players in total trying to take these engagements. MIBR just receiving all this utility.
And BetBoom are doing a very good job in the early and mid portion of these rounds to work man advantages and siphon off the default. And MagnaJess is getting pressured out from the B stairs while all of this counteraction is being established at ramp.
Flash sent, Brendan caught blinded, Naffian's going to get that kill. Finally start things off to the favour of BetBoom with all that map control taken as well. Rotations caught very quickly from the BetBoom camp into that B site hold.
A good smoke there for MagnaJess, because Exit could have had a timing where he could have worked out from danger. Now, they know that this is a possibility, and when this smoke clears, it seems as if MagnaJess is actually pre-aiming it.
Crosshair just a little bit above Exit's head. Now staggered away from the man himself, but he's just been spotted. Drop with 2 on the lineup, though. 3-on-3 game by him. More trades available with 2 players in the backline. Shoulder baits are going to try and force him out on damage counts. Again, HP advantage in favour of the CT side. The man advantage is not, though, with Insanity continuing to insert himself in this round. And safe with the AWP to close. MIBR again from the back foot. Fight back to claim the round itself. 5-0, with at least 2 of them that should have been BetBoom's.
Well, this should have been a 3-2. This should actually be a lead right now for BetBoom. I think all of these last few rounds, maybe the eco, it's like 50-50, isn't it? Because it's low HP, it's a 1v2. But the last 2 gun rounds, you can very easily say with the man advantage and the positions they find themselves in, they should be closing those rounds down. Drop with a very tidy couple of kills, and then the insertion over Guardian on the backstab.
The fact they're not getting these rounds leaves BetBoom with very little in the reserve and very little on this rebuy. Deagle of Nafni did hear players coming. The Molotovs are going to be a little bit deeper into his position. Did spot one, trying to go for tough stabs, and Brendan's having none of it. Chiron can still find Exit, and Zorti's SMG can get involved in this. Him and Siren, 2 versus 3. MIBR aware of at least 1 man. I'm not sure if they spotted that second.
Now Zorti with the MP9 in a good range. The enemy page is not even getting baited there, though, from Siren. BetBoom trying to keep the expense up high on this anti-eco, but not really getting a much out.
And the underwhelming factor is that we can both sit here and say the rounds have been pretty close, right? It's been quite competitive. There's been opportunities. But you also need to look at the scoreline and say, well, when are those opportunities going to get converted into actual round victories? Is this just going to be a blowout scoreline? Is this just going to be an MIBR side that pretty quickly send us to that decider?
Well, look, they can't lose the half from this position. BetBoom again taking an early tactical. Just like it was in the last match, within that first quarter, 2 tacks to try and adjust against MIBR, and well, the Brazilians are just answering back to every single responsive play.
I'll put it this way. If it goes from 6-0 to 6-6, they've definitely lost the half. Maybe not in a mathematical sense, but with the 1v4 clutch from Insani, I'm sure that's still just ingrained in the mind right there from BetBoom.
Again, like at least 2, probably 3 of these rounds so far should have gone the way of BetBoom, and they didn't. So you're probably right on that assessment, to be frank.
I mean, it's surprising, because if we are using that chain logic, how is Insani only taken 1 death? If we're having so many good attempts and so many late round situations of success, you would expect him to be dropped more often.
Maybe you'd have to try and find a way to neutralize him. Unfortunately, Siren is unable to come up with that kill. Got close towards it with 60 points of damage, but 10-1, the man is top fragger.
That mid-lurk smoke And start working with that with yet another B split, and the B site's been weak. Magnajez is being pressured quite a lot in these rounds.
Nafany's also pressured back at 51, desperate to engage, but didn't know who to aim for, didn't hit any of those shots on Brenton specifically. The adjustment to the second man led to his demise. 5-on-3 for MIBR, for BetBoom. They might have to just gamble stack a site. They are going to pick the A play here.
Zorti with that AWP, on for the challenge towards Mini Ramp and Crane.
Smokes down a suppressed blind fire of the M4 of Chiron, and the AWP also firing back, so they're aware of two players' positions. Chiron trying to find an angle, but Exit's just slow creeping up to the bomb site. Bit opened up here, not on the default position, so Zorti can't go for the wall bangs, and with no kills presenting themselves for BetBoom, the three players that remain opt to go back and save. I mean, it is the best call from here. But even so, 7 in a row for MIBR.
And Yumi was definitely onto something at the beginning of this best of 3 about talking about Zorti. I think when we saw him on Forza, right, very consistent piece, really strong rifler, even when you and IJ casted him on Ethereal and Unique way back in the days. But with this lineup of BetBoom, we certainly haven't seen that same level of form. And map number 1 only featured 11 kills and 11 deaths. He's the highest rated player for BetBoom on Vertigo in the last 3 months, and he's on 1 kill. And that AWP is just not translating impact. Remember what we saw in the first few gun rounds of Mirage, right? On that city side for MIBR, we were getting a safe involved in the apartments, and out to A ramp, and into connector, down to underpass, constantly making 5v4s happening, constantly getting the round off to a good beginning. We haven't seen that from the CT AWPer of BetBoom.
MIBR, comfortable territory in this map. BetBoom. Just don't know how to respond to this.
I'm convinced that 1v4 has just killed them. Just destroyed them completely.
I mean, you mentioned the mental aspect of BetBoom, and it certainly may well apply. See how the rest of these engagements play out, particularly over towards the B execution when there's only 2 players to defend him. Molotov, that Guardian's going to force Siren out. Flash blinded, drop looking for Magnajez at the edge of the site. Siren does get that trade back, needs a big sequence. He only gets one of them though. Chiron does catch the bomb carrier at the edge of the bomb site, so 3-on-3 has been held together. Plan to be stalled for now, but MIBR have time.
Yeah, Chiron needs to try and work around this util for maximum success. Don't have a HE or incendiary, so it's going to have to be fairly dry. Give themselves a lurk smoke on the left-hand side.
Flash forward, going to catch Insani completely blinded. Have a smoke that you can fall back behind. The blind sprays of Exit come up good against Chiron and Nafany. And just like that, Zorti cannot do anything from here. 1-on-3 for the AWP. He just has to save again.
Yeah, we're seeing more of that water than impact from Zorti right now. MIBR, I mean, even in that round, Exit just... I'm not even sure about that first kill. I mean, it seemed like he got a kill on the edge of the smoke. But that second one's just a straight spam, isn't it? It's just right through the smoke. You think, man, what can I do? How much more can we generate here? MIBR are 8-0.
Zorti's getting hunted as well. Caught by Safe. He knew exactly where it was. And once he did, he pulled the trigger. Yeah, this is a very rough affair for BetBoom, to say the least.
Do you know what's surprising to me, though, is that we had that eco, and we had 2 gun rounds in a row that were very competitive. I think since that clutch, we actually haven't had a competitive round since then. Haven't had a round where it's been a man advantage, where the trades have looked solid. Instead, it feels as if since that clutch has happened, BetBoom are just rattled. They're not reading the game to the same level. They're not getting their impact players involved. And it tells you that by just the kill counts. I mean, with everyone being all 5 or less, no one is recovering the situation. No one's making that statement to get themselves out of trouble.
BetBoom's best case scenario to close the half is 4 rounds. It is probably a lot more likely that it will go further than that. Final tack taken, broken investments with Famas's out for a couple of players. Molotov's already sent out towards the ramp. Default Chiron does get catching one player off on the aggression and finding the second of exit, taking damage, but the trades are still good for Drop and Safe. The 5-7 and the AK get into a 3 versus 3. Zorti faced a pun and his Famas doesn't get enough on Drop. 8 points of health. Magnajez at least finds a responsive and goes back to a 2 versus 2, but Drop's not done.
Azorti just looked lost in that scenario, hesitant. Do you want to commit to the keep fighting? Do you want to fall back? He's kind of caught in 2 minds out to mini ramp. And Magnajez has already been caught on rotation, 18 points of health. This should just be a save.
As if he had any other option.
And Chiron got 2 kills. I know the trades were insta, but that's a moment. That's a strike of brilliance from Chiron to make something happen.
It still wasn't enough. Drop 3 kills, 8 points of health by the end of his impact. And the man just lit up the server in that round.
And say what you want about MIBR. From the perspective of BetBoom, how are we getting a team that is pretty much playing the best team in the world right now of Mouse to double digits on this map of Vertigo and took Falcons to double digits as well, and yet they can't win a round and they're down 0-9. It seems off. Something just, it's not there.
They are up against a team that took Heroic to a 13-2 on this map at similar stances. Greater forces than just historicals and stats at play in my eyes. Drop, another fight, one against Magnajez. He is just the entry demon, it seems.
He's getting involved all over the map. And once more, I mean, look at how defensive it is towards ramp from BetBoom. They try the opening pressure towards B stairs, but when you're playing like this and not even contesting ramp early, it tells you the team is struggling. It tells you the entire team is lost for what needs to be adapted, for what needs to be brought forward to change. So much respect to MIBR given to take ramp.
Slow walks of MIBR. Brenzin. Flashed in, Nafany. Got smokes to try and cover them off and will suppress for the time being, but will not be able to get away with any sort of kills back here. MIBR have time pressure. And now the mass stack of the CT forces to deal with. Chiron outside of the smoke, caught by Insani. Deeper smokes coming in for the T side. Flashes keeping the CT players blinded. Nafany caught dead to right. Can't see a thing. Neither can Zorti. Siren does get a couple kills out of this 1 versus 1. But it's a player behind him, Safe. Keeps MIBR in safe hands and the safest of 10-0 leads.
And I'm still so shocked of the lack of deaths that Insani is taking, because even in that round, it's not as if he's playing baitish, right, where you're hanging back and you're just getting freebies. No, he's getting up there on default and he's looking for players at the back of headshot and the sniper's nest. He's getting in high-impact zones. They are struggling to deal with him. MIBR have looked rock solid on this T side, and BetBoom, well, they just want to make sure that they at least hold weight in some regard towards the tail end of the half.
Just give us something. At least go out with some sort of fight.
And the issue is the buys, because they just keep buying now because they're so desperate. So you're working with FAMASas and MP9s. Flash around the corner. Insani actually doesn't quite get that kill, so it is an opener.
His 4th death of the game. This time the opening kill for BetBoom, although he still got close to catching Siren. MIBR outside of that one engagement have been very, very quiet in the opening portions of round 11. Bomb on its way towards the B site, mid control starting to get established. This is going to be a split play.
Zorti can watch out from Guardian, try and protect Magnajez from any mid-defensive. Zorti, a little bit of an off angle on the jiggle, but here comes the exec.
Get that boost up, I think, on the boxes and try to see if they can fight him from an elevated angle. Flashbang's perfect. He's dropped off position. They've heard that info, and now they start moving. Magno's burning. Use that smoke in the end. Brendan's going to hear rotation. Siren might not be ready for this. Safe Sorb catches that kill. AK inserted, so watching for Siren's position. Gets that shot together. One man left, caught back sight. Brendan plays up the double. Nafany, 1 versus 4. Nothing he can do once again. I've been saying that quite a lot because it literally has been the case. Time and again. Front foot, back foot, even foot. MIBR just win all the rounds.
Now, if we could go back in time, Jay, I would love to get to the start of this best of 3 and see the Mirage ban and the HM pick from BetBoom, because I actually think that MIBR probably could have taken the series in 2.
Yeah.
This has been a fantastic showing from them on their map pick, and it really excites me for the 3rd map decider, for a map that MIBR are quite comfortable on.
BetBoom have not been in this map in the slightest. MIBR. Just slow as you like him. Quiet as a mouse. In the last round of the half.
Imagine Railway just sitting there thinking, lads, what is going on? And we've probably prepped for this map. We know that MIBR are going to pick Vertigo. And nothing, absolutely nothing is getting gained. Finally, an adaptation of a boost out from Yellow, but let's see if MIBR are actually pre-aiming for this.
Exit's checking. Oh, is he going to check all the way? Molly sent towards the sandbags. M4 barely not spotted. AWP. Oh, just barely comes together for Nafany. They are for Brendan. And the trades still come up good. Siren, however, holds the man advantage with 2 of his own. Mid-luck coming back from Insanity, starting to get accounted for. The bomb's on site, trying to get planted. He hasn't got support. Insanity just closing in the pins ever so slowly. Siren, shoulders out, 2 to line up. 1 to go down. Chiron keeps a chance available for BetBoom. And drop inside of the smoke. Doesn't know he's also getting flanked here. Chiron is so low. He checks that headshot position. The spray goes awkward, but Magnajez is caught. 1 versus 1. Drops on 4. Chiron's on 33 HP, but Drop holds it anyway. You just can't beat MIBR. 12-0 at the turn of the half.
What is going on? How have they not got that round? I can't believe it. Even the timing that Siren is waiting for the backstab. He's trying to keep eyes on that late lurk. Red HP, single-digit HP, and the 1v2 comes out. Oh, that's insult for injury. That should have been at least 1.
BetBoom. I mean, at least Nafany's smiling somewhat.
Don't know what for.
Yeah, neither do I. Because this has been a complete decimation. A whitewash and a half for MIBR going into the second half. Pistols out, BetBoom. Was walking into their default, walking up mid.
Insani out from Guardian up against 3. A little bit of an off angle, and he's already seen that first player.
Making a little bit of noise, wary of potential boosts. Position of the P2K. Look left and right. Safe, however, from mid strikes first. And Sandy now sees what's going on Siren. Goosh down damage to 4 points of health, leading to his demise. And meanwhile, the execution, that drop just holds on for Magnajez, caught back, taps the jewel. He's not quite lining up on Chiron. Brendan also tagged, but Siren drops. Chiron is low HP. And backside, there is 1, now joined by a 2nd and 3rd player. Bomb trying to commit. Both players lining up for safe. Both individuals known about to the rest of MIBR. 2 versus 2 situation here. BetBoom slow it down.
Yeah, it gets very slow. Chiron's not going to be able to do much. Zorti's hoping for a backstab to present down from ladder into the bottom of the B stairs.
It's not, though. No time to rotate. Not without making tons of noise and giving the game up to MIBR. Zorti about to make a move. Julie's and USP. USP turns away from it. The Julie's able to strike back, but unable to get much in terms of the kill counts. 12 seconds. Plant is going to get secured. USP takes fight. Takes Zorti. 8 seconds. Got to prioritize the Plant. Oh, exit! What the hell was that shot? What a way to end the 13-0 for MIBR.
Oh, it's the dream. It's the dream. Everyone wanted to see if it was going to happen. No one wanted to say it, but everyone was thinking it. 13-0 with 3 ridiculous clutches on the same map.
I'm just a little bit shell-shocked at that last kill, Twig. What the hell was that? Oh my god, what a response as well. When you said they were looking flat at the tail end of the second half on Mirage, right? Going to their own map pick, 13-0, MIBR. What a statement to make in this series, and I'm sure that the desk has plenty of statements to make of their own.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because what the hell do you say? Now, hear me out here. I've spent a considerable amount of time in the last few months deep diving into Reddit and HLTV forums and making the mistake of there we go, of reading a lot of troll comments about what people expect from a desk, just to try and understand, like, how do we bring it about? And my understanding so far has ultimately, you know, people want to be educated, they want to learn something they didn't know before, they want to be entertained. But to this day, no one seems to be able to tell me what the hell you're supposed to do when you get a 13-0 scoreline. Because other than completely dumpstering on the team that didn't get a single round, it's not like you can deep dive and analyze this. And that's the situation we now find ourselves in. I mean, Eternal J was saying we have lots of statements. What are we supposed to say? Get good, BB?
Well, listen, I actually come in with some analysis about BB over here, right? I'm coming in, I understand what was sort of going on with BetBoom. I understand what went wrong. And we're going to cue a replay up for you guys. Guys, remember, production, this is my replay. And this actually really... really aptly explains what was sort of happening, right? So, you know, you'd see them starting off, you'd see them trying to get into their setups very often. You know, you look over to his manager, the player who was doing so well before, and we're going to get that one up in a second, don't worry. And, you know, he's trying to go forward for a peek out towards the B stairs area, and this sort of did seem like it was just all of, like, this was basically all of BetBoom summarized, right? So you see Magnitude there, and then he drops off a building. And he's irrelevant afterwards. He's spiraling downwards to his demise and his death. That's what happened over here, the 13-0. There's nothing else to talk about.
There are things to talk about. I don't know about falling off the building, but yeah, this is I mean, BetBoom fell off a cliff this whole game. Every time there was even a glimmer of hope for BetBoom, you know, man advantages, good opener kills, there would just be like an MIBR double kill out of nowhere, and then they'd just end up winning the round. They'd win these ridiculous clutches too. I think I started thinking about Nuke midway through that game, and I imagine that's probably the same for BetBoom, because that's what we're gonna have to focus on, I guess.
Listen, I'll be honest, I think they were thinking about Mirage more than Nuke. They were thinking about the happier days. I don't know if they want to think to the future right now, right? You reset back to the part that worked.
See, Tom, we said at the start of the show, you said you didn't have a big brain, but that was some big brain analysis right there, my friend. I was super impressed with how you broke that round down. I mean, I'm going to talk about the mental game, because I don't know where else to go with this without being really mean to one team, which is not what I want to do. The mental game for me works here now, is that if you're coming off a 13-0, one of two things are going to happen. One, as a team, you are inspired. You go, you know what, this is not who we are. We saw what we could do on Mirage. We're coming to Nuke. We are going to F things up now. Or you're going to have an instance in the break where everyone is going to start pointing fingers, right? And the fighting is going to start because players are frustrated. They are now annoyed. They feel like their teammates didn't pick up the slack. And then the finger pointing starts, and then you end up in a situation where you come into the decider map all pretty angry with each other. From your experience watching BetBoom, which side of the coin are they sitting on?
I actually think they're going to probably just put that map behind them very quickly. I think they got themselves into quite a few round-winning positions that just didn't pan out that way. They were losing to ridiculous clutches. They were losing to ridiculous double kills that came in the mid-round. I think they've got themselves good starts, but very, very poor finishes. And, you know, that's all that they can really reflect on and think, oh, well, we just didn't have the caliber to actually match up with them on this Vertigo in particular. I don't think there's going to be as much finger pointing as maybe some other teams.
I agree. Especially, I think, I actually don't know if this is a team situation for my money. I think it's more because I just saw Nathaniel was having some nervous giggles throughout some of it. We were talking about that a little bit off air. Like, what is he smiling about? Listen, that's the point where you know you screwed up. That's also the point where, like Michael said, there were places where they got opening kills and they just got double killed right back. When things like this are happening and everyone is messing up everything, and you've just come off of a map win, right? You have to remember Mirage was actually pretty individually convincing for these guys. Everyone was bad. Who are you pointing the fingers at, right? Like, it's not like anyone came out of here looking pretty. It's not like you had a simple hair with like 17, 18 kills while everyone else is letting him down and he's just losing because his team sucks. This was really just a, you know, collective sucking experience for BetBoom, and they can put that one behind them and have Nuke coming out instead.
I used to work on another game where we were never allowed to be negative on the desk. That was like an actual rule from the publisher. You always had to find something positive. And in an instance like this, they would have been like, you just need to talk about how good MIBR is. Damn, I'm glad I work in Counter-Strike and not that. Let's talk about Nuke, though. Pretend that hasn't happened. Pretend that BetBoom isn't going to become the meme team again and people are going to be posting that, which is a little bit unfair to them because, like you said, in Mirage, we saw a very strong BetBoom. How does Nuke play out now with these two teams?
I actually need to see BetBoom destroy the MIBR default when we see them on T side. Yeah. I like BetBoom when they are being proactive, when they are taking aggressive fights. I think you have a lot of good aggressive components to this roster, whether it's Magnoyez, whether it's Siren on some of the plays that he goes for, whether that's Chiron. You know, these are guys that work best when space is taken, and you have an aggressive in-game leader like Nafany who will often throw himself in there as well. Like, if they play static defenses against MIBR, you get a result like Vertigo, where you know it's very procedural, it's very well rehearsed and understood by your opposition, and I think BetBoom operate best when they throw in chaos. That's what I want to see out of BetBoom coming into this map. I think MIBR are probably fine with where they are at the moment, but they'll probably have to make adaptations if that happens.
And the good thing about here for BetBoom is that I really do believe that there's two kinds of players whenever you're in a pressure situation, whenever you've sort of been knocked down. There's the kind who turtles up a little bit more, and then there's very often the kind who over-aggress. There's very few who are able to ride that fine line. I actually think BetBoom is more of the over-aggressing style, so at the very least, we're not going to see them keel over and die. We will at the very least see them coming through and have a chance to activate those individuals in a way where they can break down the default, like Michael is saying, where they can make MIBR feel very uncomfortable. All that being said, though, I do think we have to talk about the positives of MIBR, which is that MIBR looked incredibly good over here. On every single player, they were having mad impact moments. It wasn't just Insani, it wasn't just BR and S1. We saw great clutches coming out and whatnot as well. And admittedly, there's a bit of a cheerleader effect when everyone is playing so well and you do get better. But also, firepower-wise, they don't really just get knocked down at the very least. And I'm glad they're realizing that after Mirage honestly was a couple of these players just in a lot of very key situations, losing duels that they shouldn't have been.
And Sam, you bring up the point earlier about like mentality and how you refocus or how you set up for this final map in the Decider. There actually has to be a conversation for MIBR as well about how they approach it, because not everything is going to go your way. You're not going to win every clutch. You're not going to have these crazy miraculous double kills always happening. And if they get off to a slow start, does that then suddenly become, oh, well, we're not quite as hot as we were on this previous map. How do we address that? You know, there is a fine line to ride of, yeah, we are the better team. Let's actually express that in the server as well.
MIBR has equalized the series in impressive style. Not a single round on the board for BetBoom. We are now going to our decider. We'll be back after this.
Check it out.
The world is changing, but one remains the same. Victories with 1xBet.
Tired of boring case openings? Do you always get only cheap skins? The Hellcase website has tons of options to upgrade your inventory. It's up to you to participate in giveaways, events, or compete with other players in opening cases. Hellcase, your world of expensive skins.
Picken live. Make your choice. Play Picken and get your prize.
Well, BetBoom have been slapped about, now they want to try and clap back. The question is, can they really do that on Nuke? Dwayne, my sort of assessment of the series so far is when MIBR look comfortable, they can't be stopped. CT side and Mirage look very good. Their own map pick looked extremely good. Nuke is a map that has 9 maps in a row right now for them, 3 of which have been international, 2 of which against top tier 2 teams. And in that logic, in case of chain logic, in my eyes, it might end up being another similarly one-sided affair.
Look, it looks very promising. I think you got to be realistic, though, and say, well, what if MIBR start on the T side, right? I mean, we're only saying that it probably will be quite easy if they start on that city basis and win the knife round. For MIBR, I mean, anytime you get a 13-0, you really set a statement. You put your foot down. And I can't wait to see what Nuke is going to be like for them, because it is a very strong map, and I'm just keen to see what the Brazilians are going to be able to do in this group stage.
I only hope that BetBoom has sort of sat down and just sort of like really gone through the motions here in this like map break to really like reset mentality, because it's come up a couple times so far. This is a very emotional team, and I have no doubt after that kind of result, they're on full tilt right here. So to mentally reset is going to be one of those key sort of like differentiating factors. Because look, I can't say I don't think you could say that in that last map many of the players had very good performances, and as time went on, it just seemed to get worse and worse for them. So taking that opportunity to just quieten down and start to get prepared for this is something that I really hope they've done, because that might be the only way forward for BetBoom.
You can very easily say that if all of them clutches went their way, we could have probably seen 4, 5, 6 rounds being gained by BetBoom, and instead we got 0. So going into a map like Nuke, it's all about being able to set a little bit more of a mindset of being positive, right? Giving the fight back to MIBR. We know that this is a side that has a lot of local results in the Brazilian scene, so because of that, they might look at it from BetBoom and say, okay, well, we've got a lot of consistent results against tier 2 teams in Europe. Let's show what we've been able to achieve over the last sort of month to 6 months or so, and let's bring it in a third map decider.
Well, obviously, they're going to have to try and find those elements to neutralize and figure out the sort of star guys over on the MIBR side, the ones that have been performing so well within this roster so far today. And Sani is the one that stands out the most in my eyes. Obviously, both maps, he was near the top end of the board for very good reason.
Yeah, he was, and I suppose, again, he's always going to be a guy that you look at with a lot of high degree. I think Safe's going to be quite key on the city side, being that heaven rotate, always being involved with the big green. I would say for the BetBoom side on Nuke, I mean, we normally see Magnajez has some really good showings. He's one of the better performers on this map, so getting more from him, I mean, unfortunately, didn't get to see much from him out on Vertigo, because oftentimes B-side anchor and a lot of ramp plays, well, he's not going to get that much action.
Another guy we didn't get to see much of as well was Zorti. And you called it out during part of that map up. Was only 1 kill deep. He actually ended up on Vertigo, ending off on 2 kills only throughout the course of that one. So like that AWP found virtually no impact on that map up, and I feel like that even though it's not the most AWP heavy map over on Nuke, you still have some positions which you can play to lock out defensive lines, looking at ramp, looking at outside, and I feel like that we need to add, I'm not asking him to be a star per se, but I think we need to see a lot more than just 2 kills.
What we really want to see is just competitiveness, right? The last thing that you want in such a fantastic and prestigious tournament in the online atmosphere of a 500k is to have a 13-0 and then like a 13-3 or a 13-4 where it's just a blowout. Because this is a day where I would say Big, in the other side of the group that's already lost out against Astralis, they are a beatable team. They're a team that both MIBR and BetBoom can look at and say, yeah, we've got a decent crack of trying to eliminate an experienced squad in last place, but we need to see more from BetBoom. We need to see more competitiveness in this finale.
And remember, that series is the second one of the day, so immediately after this one, or when time comes in terms of the schedule, they will be taking on Big basically after this series. So it's going to be virtually no rest minus the extended break that we'll have. So for BetBoom, for them to go into that series on tilt, for them to have mentality problems, that is the last thing they want right here. Even if they do make it competitive, that would at least give them some glimmer of hope, and that would give them that emotional boost that we so often talk about for that team. And so, like, just at the very least to sort of go blow for blow, maybe a CT side start is the right move for them. Maybe if they can't make the map happen, having that opening to get the advantage and then turn it over from there, that sort of like would be at the absolute minimum what I hope for BetBoom in this match.
And for MIBR, I mean, they'd love to be able to take on a team like Astralis, right? Because I think with all the local results they've been able to find, with some of the qualifications they're finding through the local qualifiers and getting up at the Tier 1 tournaments, you get to kind of play Astralis on a bit of home turf. You get to play them online, a team that's been very successful at Tier 1, a team that's very much on the rise at the very peak. So if you are an MIBR, you look at BetBoom and say, well, we just trounced them in map number 2. Let's come into Nuke, let's get a clinical showing, and let's get ourselves ready for what is going to be our toughest series that they've probably played in the last handful of months.
Easily the toughest series for any team to play in terms of the group at the very least. I mean,
100%.
Astralis may well be in with a chance to take the whole damn thing, honestly, with the way that they've been playing. I mentioned it on the desk during the pre-matchup. They are going to be a team that are championship worthy here in CCT Global Finals. So this situation certainly is going to need a lot of mentality, and obviously the victory in terms of how this map plays out is one of the key things. The intricate details are going to have ramifications for the rest of the matches of the day. Unfortunately, we're not quite ready to get into this matchup. We thought we were, but we lied to you. So we're going to take a very short break, and hopefully when we come back, we'll get ready for Nuke, our third and final map of the opening game. And welcome back. It's time to get into it. Final map of the series. Nuke up to play for. MIBR certainly still holding on to favoritism at the moment. BetBoom will need a positive start in my eyes, the way we talked about that and more. Any final sort of things that you're going to be on the lookout for in this map up?
Whether we get another 13-0, maybe. I mean, that's the only thing I'm thinking about.
We'll jump at USPs. How about that from Exit?
Yeah,
Just to add to the extra flashiness of how the last map went down here. Again, MIBR must be feeling extremely confident off the back of that. I hope they don't get too overly confident. We'll talk about BetBoom.
At 2-0 against Preezy again, they're a team that have been able to, the results in the pathway have had some really substantial wins. And I think now we're seeing how competitive Mirage was in the first half, with what we've seen on Nuke, we have to expect a good performance from the Brazilians in this final map at Nuke.
Yeah, indeed we do. And for them to obviously insert themselves in this final map up of the series, get towards that upper bracket final in terms of the group stage, obviously taking on Astralis and get their chance to fall off another massive upset. Well, I don't know if it's an upset per se in this matchup, but, you know, just like a massive upset of their own right, just again instate that confidence to try and go ahead and do so in that respect. Whether they can do, obviously, is a debate for a little bit later on for the day. For the right now here, beating out BetBoom is a very, very doable task for MIBR.
And I think for MIBR, it's all about redemption after the lack of qualification to the major, right? We saw a lot of Brazilian teams at the major. MIBR were one of them that weren't able to do so. So those opportunities against European and CIS competition, opportunities to play more consistently against the high-end Tier 2 squads and the Tier 1 teams, that's why they're here in CCT.
Well, here we go. Time to close out this series. MIBR will be on the CT side start, Dwayne. So no early advantages for BetBoom. They're going to have to work for this victory here on Nuke. The pistol is live.
Nuke is the best win rate for MIBR out of any map in the pool in the last 3 months. 15 wins and just 3 losses. Safe. Outside, taking contact and spotting a body of one, and now hearing the mass footsteps of the T-Red players.
Lots of players out here. One smoke coming down towards the top end of Mini. The USP will take its fight on Safe's part of things, unable to hit any of those headshots. He does catch Magda Jez and drawing out first blood on the back line of that mass of BetBoom players. MIBR hold downstairs.
A situation where BetBoom cancel for the moment. They freeze up, wait to see if there's any more aggression. Brenzen out here with the Julies, in with Itsani.
Siren taking fight, and Brenzen will be able to get that kill traded back. Zorti gets 2 trades of his own, 3-on-3.
Drop has not opened up the glass, so instead just going to keep scaling down into the rafters. Only one player down to the lower bomb site, and that's because it could still be a top site play. Chiron's going to try and push more rotations down, but there is rotation room in the vents to go back up A.
Well, X is going to cut that rotation room right back down as Nafany is caught on that transition. Chiron going back to the Julies to try and see if he can isolate Drop, but there's a crossfire involved here. Safe just checking out those double doors positions. Chiron's going to reveal himself, so Drop be able to focus on that position as well. The dual decon doors should open up soon enough, and they can turn their attention towards it. They will catch off Safe. USP actually does get overwhelmed with the 2 men, so somehow BetBoom have forced open the sights.
Very good in clutches for MIBR in that last map. Let's see if it happens again.
I think he spotted the player at dark. Chiron is low. Zorti is the big threat. Both players on upgrade pistols. USP leaning forward. Adjustment back. Can't quite hit the headshot. Exit. Another 1-on-2 for him to try and make happen with pistols out to play for. Flicks unable to connect the headshots though. BetBoom toying with him. Eventually he'll get some tags off, but he's running out of ammo and he's also running out of time. No kills gained for him. BetBoom may have just held together the pistol to open up Nuke.
That's a very good recovery when you consider, first off, heavy outside. Not only is it being seen, but it's actually being dealt with. Opening kill comes through from Safe. Down there in the lower corridors, I actually expected a bit more out of the Julies, with Brenzen in from the vent entrance and for the crossfire to be established from the stairs of decontamination, and kind of expecting a bit of a mop-up. Instead, BetBoom with a strong recovery of Zorti and Chiron.
MIBR facing similar stances to the start of the series. Back on Mirage, BetBoom did take the pistol and the conversion. A force buy for MIBR in this one may well allow the 3-0 start for BetBoom instead. Let's see if they can steal.
BetBoom are clearing out a lot of space here from Secret. Chiron waiting to see if anyone was going to overextend the marker through the smokes or clear out these cubby lower corridor positions. Even out to ramp, there's a little bit of a bait and switch. First contact can get taken and there can be a bit of a swing. BetBoom, though, exploiting heavy outside.
taking presence in Secret and a Garage.
It's a good idea to exploit outside on an anti-force buy because it gives you so much space to work with.
MIBR to focus on the side defensive, perhaps. Two players downstairs are hearing the majority of these footsteps. The Deagle missing its opening shot. Chiron continue to jump face. Mac 10 close against Exit. Deagle back of Insanity, unable to get anything. 5-on-3, B site has been taken.
Yeah, Chiron's had two very impressive rounds back-to-back and pretty much been the sole reason why BetBoom can allow themselves to get a 2-0 beginning.
Zorti with another. Indeed, MIBR will look to concede. See if these SMG can get any more cash out of it. Chiron bringing out the Julies against Safe. Unawares of where drop is specifically. So recognizing the benefit of the automatic weapon. In the corner, drop's going to drop. And Safe almost gets picked up. Eventually will drop to Chiron. 4 kills for him. Well placed to deal with the pistols. And there'll be more pistols on the way.
And I'm sure that Railway would have had a lot to say to the BetBoom individuals after that poor performance out on Vertigo. And while not many people will be familiar with him, there was a lot of good rosters that he was a part of. He played in the earlier Sparta that was out there with Dima and Sofix and Dexter. Played on Indie Ray that made a good couple of challenges at the RMRs. And played on Aurora in the very early iteration of that team. So an experienced player turned into a coach. Valuable for a best of 3 after a performance like that in map 2.
And BetBoom have 2 for now. Should be 3 soon. Utility set down on the T-side basis. Ensuring that they are going to be secure against these pistols. A couple of Zeus also in play for Safe and Brenzin. Safe playing off the back of the tray. Brenton expecting players to come in from Hut. MagnaJays has caught one player off towards Heaven.
What do you reckon that smoke was for, Joe?
Well, obviously, it was missed. I'm going to assume. Yeah. I'm going to assume it's for the locker windows.
That would be a safe assessment.
Well, nothing safe about his casualty. Him drop, exit, down and out. Chiron bursting through on Insani. And Brenzin. The Zeus kill would be nice, but unlikely at this range. USP pulled out and dealt with by Siren. All 5 alive. Here come the guns.
And for MIBR, let's see just how competitive the first few gun rounds are going to be here of Nuke. And for BetBoom's perspective, you win this round, you get up 5-0 on the T side. You then start feeling as if you're in a strong position to threaten out this last map of the series and get yourself playing up against Astralis. At the moment, it's been pretty much Zorti and Chiron to get involved with a lot of impact kills. Let's see who else is going to start to shine in the gun rounds.
Quick smokes towards outside. MagnaJ is already in at red and going to cross back towards Secret soon enough. AWP is safe. Will be there to meet him. Is unsure of exactly how close he is, so holds back at the vent for the quick shot and dive out. HEs and flashes coming in against Drop. Using that incendiary to block off the ramp take pretty quickly on BetBoom. They're going to spread out towards the ramp room itself.
And they don't have to commit down here to lower. They can siphon off ramp, they can slow it in, they can try and take some hell. Finally on the drop down, Drop is hearing a lot of these footsteps.
Nice nade on Nafni. Second round's going to get drawn back here. The split play in towards Secret could be a concern. Flashes, catching Drop, burning a little bit out in the open. He's going to get exposed. Safe, however, lands only one of those frags. Daphne and Siren trade it 4-on-3, making it 3-on-3 as Insani gets his kill. Still got that Secret presence to be concerned about. Siren on site, though. He's going to become the immediate threat. Insani down, Brendan concerned. Back at Decon, he holds. Bomb yet to get planted. Despite that, it's a 3-on-2 for BetBoom.
Actually, a deeper smoke out there to Decon, so he cannot get on the front side of it. Exit out from the ramp entrance, and they're trying to toy with Brendan. They're trying to force him out.
Exit didn't spot the player on the rafters. Trying to bait him in. Ooh, Incendiary back as the kill comes in very quickly. It's a bit of ice utility on that respect, but Siren is a dead man. Exit almost was. 2v2, MagnaJez making his own move, smoke down towards Obs, and sprays damaged up. Zortzi going to get caught back. Advantage now for MIBR, but they haven't accounted for MagnaJez. Now he's revealed. Point blank, his exit is M4, sprays through. Diffuse, held towards backside. The spray of the Galil is good for that one pick. There is no diffuse kit. And MagnaJez can turn his Deagle back to the double and win the 1v2 clutch.
I can't be the only one concerned right now for MIBR. This is a slow start to their city side, and honestly, there probably shouldn't have been much in that retake. With the trade that Siren was able to get out to Decon, with the 3v2 with the bomb going down, it probably should have been an easier post-plant. And yes, a couple of good kills on the retake threatened it for the moment, but BetBoom are looking cohesive on this T side right now.
Indeed they are. MIBR struggling to get early involvement down to the upgrades of pistols and SMGs. Again, not the full-on force, a half buy still. Max loss bonus will come in the next. But rounds are the key concern here. BetBoom certainly finding their responses from map 2. Continue up to 5-0.
And we need to keep a bit of a tally going out now on how large is this round streak going to be. We obviously saw a 13-0 in the last map for MIBR. We're now seeing a 4-0, should be a 5-0. Could it just be a map based off of long and extended streaks? Could that be a difference maker?
It's certainly possible, considering that we've seen 2 massive streaks so far in this connecting maps. 13 rounds in a row for MIBR, right now about to go to 5 for BetBoom, although there is contention involved for the CT side, a 4-on-4. Tops kill found, Chiron.
That's so
extending towards exit. Yeah, his shoulder just peeking out. Advantage back.
And also, from the other perspective, the exit saw the bomb, wanted to wait for the fight, and Chiron's watching out for it. Brendan has dropped that bomb, but the trade should come in pretty quickly, and individually, BetBoom are looking quite sharp on these trades.
Rifle advantage still, of course, helping them out here in round number 5. 15 seconds to get the bomb down. Sammy is sneaking in towards heaven. Will catch off one player. Chiron is exposed, but Sammy doesn't extend far enough, so he'll let that plant come in. He could well have denied it and taken a round back for it as a result. Siren's back is turned towards Squeaky, so Safe might start to become a threat, but he's sneaking in over at Hut. Chiron is watching for his position. Slow peeks up, spray through. Damage was done to the man, but there are no HGs down for Insanity. He drops into the bomb site. Chiron does get caught. AK picked up. Smoke will go down. Diffuse tapped once. Instant flashbang comes in from the last man of the T-side line, and Insanity's not winning this clutch this time. Good effort from MIBR, but BetBoom take 5.
Now, Chiron is the 3rd highest rated player for BetBoom in the last 3 months on Nuke, and he is currently 11-2. He is getting opening kills, he's getting important multi-frags, he's working some of the disadvantages that they found in the mid-portion of the rounds. He needs to be stopped. He needs to be silenced. He needs to be conditioned. Because if they continue to let Chiron land the success that he's getting already, he is going to power BetBoom to victory.
One away from the 6-0. The minimum is hit by BetBoom on T-side line. Safe. Orp to provide support to a player that's inserted deep outside. The first contact will not be established by the man smoking the way of it. Incendiary is another bit of utility at the ready. They haven't checked this. M4 2 to line up. Oh, it's adjusted towards by Chiron. Just about.
Oh, how is that not 2? I can't believe Chiron's been able to get that trade there. And now, once more, they're exploiting deep outside. This is what BetBoom are doing frequently on the T side.
Chiron's got to harder cover as well, so he's not been discovered by the trade games. Drop might provide himself an opportunity over at the lockers, but he's also got to play around that ramp defensive. And Sani and Brendan starting to make moves. Are they going to go into that Orpa's hands? No, they're going to catch him off guard. Zorti picked up. Chiron still undetected. Nafni's going to deal with one of those players on outside. And Drop goes back deeper into the bomb site defense. Chiron's backstabbing. Oh, this is going to win the round.
Chiron's in such a strong position because now Nafni's starting to back off.
Drop. He's turned in on him. The timing's perfect. A 2-on-2. Bomb still outside. And a counter backstab from Siren needs to be accounted for.
What is going on right now? What is the timings? Nafni's pulling distraction. This should be the round-winning play.
AK leans up, but he can't catch any CT contact. He's looking into the right places, but not at the right times. And he misses the angle on drop, just damage done. Bomb can be secured on bomb site. A missed smoke, though, might provide some breathing room for MIBR as the AK continues to whiff its kill opportunities. Nafany down-centered, finally Siren gets Brenzin. Drop all alone. 1-on-2, making noise towards the outside hut position. Heard one player over at Heaven, already aware of his position. Nafany being fought upon, but he's going to win that engagement. And these rounds are getting closer and closer for MIBR, but they're still going the way of BetBoom. 6 on the trots.
I don't even know how to unpack that round. There's so much to talk about with the timings and the deep outside. I would say, though, the only way that that round was even remotely workable is Drop getting an insane timing at Heaven. Outside of that, MIBR are being outclassed in this first half. BetBoom are exploiting deep outside, and they've got variation. We've seen the main play, we've seen the hell play, we've seen the secret play, we've even seen the play all the way up to Heaven, and seen it twice in the same round. MIBR will be not only tilted at the fact that the Africa player, deep under Silo, didn't get 2, but the fact that they're just not really competing, in my eyes. I actually think that they are getting stomped right now.
Look at the board. The numbers that they're posting up on MIBR. Very comparable to how that last map went down for BetBoom.
And we could both agree that that probably should have been the round that Chiron gets up to 14 kills. With that timing that he got up into Heaven, we're both expecting he gets 2 there.
But instead, hold his top frag position by only a 12-3 margin. Still absolutely stellar for being 6 rounds deep. Pistols only for MIBR. Did just take a tactical pause to find a different avenue of success. BetBoom are giving them nothing in this default.
Now, are you going to allow me, Jay, to bring up the fact that they should have banned Mirage and gone into Ancient? Or are we done with that conversation already?
I mean, look, with the way things are going, I mean, BetBoom are on to win the series, and with the prospect of potentially having a 2-0 with that first map involved, I mean, it is something that MIBR might be thinking back on.
I mean, there is a very good likelihood that both of these teams rematch in the decider, I would say. And I wonder how different the veto would be. Do we get Nuke as a decider? Do we get Ancient as a pick?
MIBR right now are struggling. Now, the Eco might grant some success. They have halted the players down from Secret, but they're still going to pop through anyway.
The exit will get overwhelmed instantaneously. Magnajez, kill to start. Advantage
For the T side, sight gained and everything. Nothing else found elsewhere. Grouped up as a unit, only Lurker is Siren, who does struggle a little bit with that kill on Brenzin. They won't struggle with the post plant. MIBR are not committing to any sort of retake. See if they can isolate this one AK, bring it into the next round. Indeed they do. But that will be about it.
And I imagine Big and Astralis looking at this matchup thinking, who would we rather face? Would we rather face the team that won a 13-0? Or would we rather face the team that's maybe more consistent across the series? BetBoom. On T side of Nuke as well. Yes, MIBR have had their chances, but wasn't that the same on Vertigo? At least for the beginning few rounds. Towards the tail end, I won't call it that. But the first few gun rounds, we had nearly an eco steal. We had a 1v4 clutch that came through from Insani. So I would say they're similar in a regard.
Karma returning onto MIBR, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Max loss bonus in effect for them. They have just lost the half without scoring a single round. They'll bring up these weapons, supported by that AK on Insani himself, who is currently top man of the CT side, which isn't really saying much, honestly, but let's find out what he can do with this. Tactical taken by BetBoom may start to get an inkling of a threat from MIBR.
I'd like to see a little bit of an adaptation of an aggressive maneuver here for MIBR, whether it be a lobby crunch on a gun round or maybe a heavy outside where they're really fighting for deep control, where they've got a player at the back of T-Red, they've got a player maybe on top of Credit, they've got someone down at Secret. I think just more emphasis on fighting for space. Outside is given too much respect right now. We're seeing a lot of deep map control constantly being taken by Chiron and co.
think about the fact that there was that one round where they had a player that was pushed up all the way to the back boxes, and he almost caught at least 2 kills. Arguably could have been 3. It was Chiron's responsive that was able to shut it down, and I don't even know how he was able to react that quickly to it. One player is looking towards outside. That is the Contact back at garage of exit. The AWP of safe is downstairs, and it's very passive on that outside defense. So in the end, not quite the push forward that you were hoping for. At least the utility has done early damage to Zorti.
And Magnajez scaling outside, and they've only got eyes down in secret. BetBoom, once more, just taking so much space, but finally a timing works out in main.
And Sani with the pick, exit. Starting to extend a little bit to see more outside vision, but will not spot the players that are there. Chiron suspecting of there being another man. Unfortunately, he's not going to spot them. At least not yet. Safes AWP. Locks on Magnajez.
Well, there we go. Finally. Walkout from Hut. Timing from Chiron outside. MIBR being watched. Chiron doesn't quite get that kill deep in garage.
There we go, down to 2. Good read from Siren on Brenzin, but Trey's back on the AK of Insani, actually not as viable. Doesn't matter though, he's tagged up heavily. Zorti is picked up. Siren is still fighting. 30 seconds, but the bomb is nowhere near him. It's about to be discovered soon enough by the push of drop. Good burst. Headshot required of the AK. He's not going to get it. And there is finally the first round of MIBR.
Well, honestly, that's a pretty good effort. When you consider that it was a 3v5 pretty early on, the round didn't look that favorable. You're kind of desperate for something to happen. You're losing players. Siren's at least kept that expensive. And with a handful of rounds still to go to close out this half, just getting those last few kills, just taking more weapons out of the CT fold, it can have ramifications to a reset.
Money's still not fantastic for MIBR. The SMG on Brenzin. And the secondary buyback. BetBoom still have a little bit of cash in reserve. Early smokes. Insani is trying to look for a stance over towards Squeaky. Not going to press so far forward. Actually, he does find Siren. Incendiary's come down as well towards the red box cross. Zorti is going to get tagged up a little bit for that. Safes AWP. Now holding down the downstairs. Peeking on Magnajez. Exit just gets away from contact. Chiron. Have to boost Zorti up over this here. Not yet, waiting for backup.
Now this boost is to check out the stairs, not to check out the vents, so it's an easy kill for save.
Shadow is also spotted, refaced, doesn't quite land it though. Chiron turns it back. Meanwhile, to outside exit, gets his kill on Magnajez as Chiron provides enough breathing room for Nafi to get to the bomb site. The plant should be secured. It's a 4v2 for the retakers.
If Chiron's still alive, this round is on.
Finds the fight on drop. Rotations are still getting here for MIBR. Down the vents into secret. Making quite a lot of noise towards this. Brenzin joining his teammates. They hear them all, yeah. Both players cross-firing out towards double doors, aware of what's going on. MIBR. Half the timer ticked. Only got one defuse kit in play on exit. He might even try to be the entry man here. Incendiary is on towards Chiron, forcing him out into another kill. Looking for exit next. Doesn't quite finish the job. Nafany back in the rafters. Kill found. M4 adjusted. But the AK does one better, and BetBoom continue to keep the hurts up on MIBR.
Mate, Chiron has done it again, hasn't he? I can't believe he's worked that 2v4. But you have to realise, with how much individual impact he's had already, any round that he's still alive, there's a chance. There's potential. Lovely crosshair placement. Great movement after he was mollied at dark. That molly came through from the observation window. He is forced out in the open, and yet they still struggle to trade him. BetBoom are all over the Brazilians on this finale.
Tacticals taken by the CT forces because they have run out of luck, it seems.
And imagine if they kept 5 alive in that round where Siren walked out Hut.
Yeah.
Then you would have had a buy here. Then you would have had a rifle in round 10. Instead, AWP for safe. Not much else.
Half-bought pistols around it. How contrasting map 2 and 3 have been. Not in terms of how they play it out, but in terms of who they're playing out to the favour of. Fast up in towards ramp. 5-7s are going to be here at a crossfire. Drop does get that one kill on Chiron. Backing away, the player at Hell might look to engage. Brenzin's also downstairs. Damage has been done to Magno Jez as utility starts pouring in. Second player also there on the lower bomb site. Engagement towards the left. Start making the move into the right. Nafany catches Brenton. Backdrop is still trying to look for more potential casualties. A teammate also there back over towards the dark entrance. There are tags against the T-side line, but the kills seem to start going their way as Nafany gets dropped. Exit unaccounted for. He finds one. Jump face to spot the second. His teammates at Decon going to start making their moves, but the Deagle of Insanity is not good enough to get Siren. 3-on-2 remains. AWP is safe. Flick on missed. Molotov against X is going to force him out. Needs that one good drive by on Magna Jez, but no, he doesn't get it. Effort here for the 5-7s, but they weren't able to find enough for the steal. Safe is out of there to grab the AWP. 9 rounds for BetBoom here.
I can't wait for the desk to try and unpack this one. A 13-0 to now a 9-1 in the opposite direction of T-side of Nuke. You can't write it. MIBR. I mean, I'm even surprised that BetBoom just didn't cancel there. You go quickly into ramp. They know they're up against quite a bit of a heavier rotation, and they just keep going. They just brute force their way in. Another round just gets added, and it's another round where for MIBR, even if it is just an upgraded AWP and a few pistols around it, you've got to try and be taking those sort of rounds with a heavy stack there on B with mass numbers to crossfire against one another. Chances are dwindling low now.
And I know that statistically speaking, MIBR's better half is actually the T side, but that doesn't really change much with the buffer being as huge as it will be at the turn of the half. 9-3 is the best case scenario for MIBR being down. Guns are setting around them for round 11. Buy will be awkward in number 12. This has to be a win for the Brazilians. Safe and exit. Finally start pushing a little bit towards outside. Smokes across the HGs down. Magnagen's going to get caught immediately by exit, wasting no time with that opener.
A drop waiting to see the insertion out from ramp because of the loss outside, so he puts the incendiary down behind the smoke. Siren looking to scale. Zorti looking to try and pick up outside.
Good second incendiary down for safe is AWP. Forcing him back. Drop HE as well, coming in close. I don't think it catches anybody. Back away just in time. Minute to play with BetBoom. Have Zorti playing outside. The rest of the team, however, indoors. Being wary of X's position. The M4 Insani takes the directive fight. Nafany is going to win it. Exit is moments away from finding his contact outside. He's making noise though. Going to get caught off by Zorti. Meanwhile, Safe tries to hold the defensive line of the AWP. Only one kill for him though. Chiron's responded. A's cleared up. There's a player in rafters. Brenzin trades back Siren to a 2v2. The bomb rotates immediately, but Zorti is still playing outside. He's going to catch a player off. That leaves Brenzin with it all to do.
That 1v2 clutch down from lower. Now he's got to make the call. Does he even want to attempt this? And knows that Zorti's somewhere outside. The peek from Secret finally comes through from the garage entrance. And Chiron, well, would you really want him in a clutch? Of course you would!
16 kills deep. Brenzin making a ton of noise on the defuse, tapping it, looking towards Decon, sees the shoulder, sees his man, taps it again, he's going to try and force forward, flashbang forward of his own right, he just barely wins the engagement, but he hasn't got time for the defuse, he knows it, he's out of there. Might not even survive the bomb blast. Once again, a clutch coming forward, but not to the retake. MIBR just cannot catch a break here. It is 10-1 for BetBoom.
And there is only 2 maps in the pool for MIBR in which they've got winning streaks of more than 3 or more. Nuke is one of them of 9, and the other one is Inferno at 4. This is one of their strongest maps in the pool. And we are just seeing a disruptive BetBoom in the T side. And again, to even compare, BetBoom have won 13 out of their past 26 best of 3s on HLTVJ. MIBR, 26 out of the last 31. These guys just don't take many losses.
This map has been so proficient for MIBR in the international stage, but today that is not the case. And Sani trying to force a fight on Magnajez. That's good for the opening pick, but look at Siren walking forward beyond that smoke, sneaking down the vents with his teammates coming in from secret. Exit almost certainly is not ready for this position.
Siren's going to cut that rotation for the A player quickly. Now, there are 2 players towards lower. Exit with the FAMAS might get overwhelmed by even the molly from Chiron.
Siren has been hurt, he engages, burst fire of that FAMAS, gets nothing. Chiron trays the man advantage back. Nafany is low, he sponged the damage for it, plant secured. 2-man advantage for the retakers. Zorti strikes and Sani does get 1 back. His AK now involved towards the vents, but look at Chiron. He's extending further. No, he does back away. There are several players tagged. Chiron is not one of them. As Brendan is revealed, I know exactly the 2 angles of attack that MIBR will look to take here, and they are just desperate for a kill. Firing blind, hoping for stray bullets. Utility down, flash sent, Brendan checking dark but not all the way. AK looks to engage, time's running short. Brendan is caught, Insani with a kill. Tap the bomb again, the second shot certainly won't land as Zorti closes with a double. And BetBoom. You want to talk about a statement on the last map, what a responsive this is.
It's been an absolute masterclass from Chiron. He's been involved in just so many round-winning moments. A top fragger and a stint of massive success in this last map. MIBR, they probably can't believe what's happening right now. They're probably looking at this one saying, how have we just got a 13-0? And okay, we're not going to get 13-0'd, but you're going to get very close to that scoreline.
This is going to have to be a special comeback. One that I doubt many people have faith in. And one that will end before it even gets started with the pistol round. BetBoom. Julie's centered several players around the bomb site. Zorti is already drawn out. The first kill drop is down. 5 on 4, trying to make it 3. Zorti, Siren, push back out of the battle lines. His USP is still going to fight back for a double, nearly a triple safe. Gets away with the trade. Siren gets him back. Bomb is on his way towards the B bomb site, but already there's a player out there to defend. Exit will find Nafany and needs to get a couple more out of this position. Siren's going to overwhelm an Insani now. Needs an Insani clutch, a 1 on 3. Players coming in so quick here. Decon door not even opened up, not like it's needed. Chiron gets the headshot and BetBoom are on map and match point.
BetBoom have made such a recovery of a statement, and I'm gobsmacked, Jay. I really thought after that 13-0 that we were going to have a competitive nuke. We were going to have a bit of a firefight between the two. And this has just been a slapping. It's been underwhelming from MIBR, but it has been a fantastic, obliterating showing from the CIS squad. And for BetBoom, I mean, they're hungry for the playoffs. They're hungry to face off Astralis. Yes, they might look at them as the best team in the comp, but when you close a best of 3 like this, anything is possible.
They're a squad that set themselves some very high standards very early on in their life cycle. Playoff may be a minimum for them. With the way things are working out here against MIBR, it might end up being the case that they get to it. Yes, maybe not against Astralis later on today, but at the Siler game, they play like this. If Chiron plays like this, then you won't stand a chance. MIBR broken by Mac 10's on 3, Galil's on 2. Incendiaries for Chiron already looking to pad his stats even more so. 2 up to get to his 20. 2 players tagged, and Magnajez will finish off in Insani for exit and safe. Nothing that they can really do here. This is a 13-1. This is BetBoom responding so well to MIBR.
I just lost for words, really.
Yeah.
The fact that their map winning streak of nuke gets ended by this kind of scoreline. Not a 13-11, not an overtime, but this. BetBoom are just giving MIBR 0 chance.
Chiron's found a new level. BetBoom have formed around him. Pushing back against the disaster stance that MIBR have taken over them. And Zorti and Chiron will be there to try and close it. Zorti, one more pick to find as he ends off 21-7 on his board. And a 13-1 for BetBoom to secure the 2-1 series and progress to the winners match.
At BetBoom, this is going to be a great feeling, right? To be able to set a good tempo and a good precedent on map number 1, to get slapped on map 2, but then to come back like that on the decider.
And it's so contrasting as well how these two last maps played out. The flashiness of MIBR, the fragging prowess, somehow working out so many situations where they took the 13-0, but the very regimented style in my eyes from the likes of BetBoom. Chiron, the man that really led the charge. I absolutely love what they did right there, and that is a hell of a victory, especially considering that we thought it really wasn't going to be, and the possibilities that a 2-0 for MIBR wasted in the veto process. For now, it's back to the deck to close out the series.
Wow, that was fun. Look at that. Another great scoreline that we get to play with. But this time, there was one round to the 13, so let's talk about that. What was that one thing that MIBR did right that one time?
I don't even remember. I'll be honest. I completely blocked that one out. All I was seeing was the Chiron light show coming in, which is looking fantastic over there. Yeah. Michael, do you remember?
No, I think it was 2v5 into 2v1 win for 2v1 win for MIBR. It wasn't pretty. Like, they didn't build money. It wasn't like they started off with 3 nice kills, I think. I again, the one round of highlight for MIBR versus the 13 for BetBoom, it's a tough one to weigh up.
I mean, I had to give them something, right? So we did dumpster a little bit on BetBoom earlier on when they didn't get a single round against MIBR. So you know what? That was vertigo. But now we get to have a little bit of fun on Nuke. Let's talk about why MIBR could not find a single answer. Well, they did find one answer with one round, but basically just didn't know what to do against BetBoom here.
They just couldn't stop Chiron. Like, they really could not stop the aggressive maneuvers that BetBoom were going for. I think Dweg was even mentioning it on the cast. They tried ramp, they tried outside, they tried going out hut, and they won all the opening engagements pretty much in a majority of these rounds. When Chiron was alive, the round was very much still active. They had to be very concerned throughout. And MIBR just couldn't win one of those straight-up gunfights that BetBoom were offering many times over.
Yeah, and very often it didn't feel like it wasn't just Chiron, right? That sort of aura that emanates out that, hey, all of these guys are just unable to get a frag onto us. Let's just peek into them if we need to. Let's just take a fight. Exit's getting lost towards the end of things as well, right? Even in the 9-1 stage where you're thinking this is when an IGL needs to rally the troops together, try and make it a 9-3, try and make it something up, and you see Exit just feeling lost outside, getting caught up by Zorte, making noise where he might not need to. Just, it really did all fall apart, and that's the difference between BetBoom in map number 2 and MIBR over here. Is that in BetBoom, you know what, they were able to put it away. MIBR couldn't put themselves out of their head. They really were, honestly, they were beaten before the 13 mark, well before.
You mentioned him already because of his incredible performance on Nuke, but he is our MVP for the entire series. Chiron, let's talk a little bit about what he was able to do all the way back on Mirage to ensure that BetBoom could close this out.
I mean, the entry fragger, Chiron, for BetBoom is just, I mean, he had a lights-up performance on this final map, but he is often a bit of an unsung hero, given that Magno Yez seems to take a lot of the attention. People talk about how good Magno is. He's often facilitated by players like Chiron or Nafany, and this time Magno wasn't even really needed. I think I saw the scoreline. It was like Magno was 4-7 because Chiron was winning all of those opening engagements, so Magno wasn't needed. Chiron stole the show on this final map for sure.
I mean, Chiron stole the show on Mirage as well, right? Let's not forget the CT side, the second we switched in towards it over there, the only real map in this series, let's be perfectly honest, that was won by Chiron as well. Yep. So yeah, absolutely does deserve to be able to take that MVP home. Was such an impactful player, and again, regardless of whatever happened in Vertigo, that aggression never really went anywhere. We never expected it to, but it paid off massively into Nuke as well.
Can we just say, and you can disagree with me if you think I'm wrong, I don't feel like this series was really a true indication of BetBoom or MIBR. I feel like both teams had, I mean, obviously we saw both teams had absolute disasters, but then, I mean, other than Mirage, I don't think we really saw these teams for what they're actually capable of.
I think the real big positive for BetBoom is that the names that you don't typically look to have these out like star performances, Siren and Chiron, were just on for most of this game. Even in the Vertigo loss, I thought Siren did a really good job of getting like a multi-kill back and putting them into some winning positions, but then the rest of the squad would somewhat capitulate. So I think just as like confidence boosters for these lesser called on pieces, BetBoom did offer up quite a lot within this series. I just think MIBR were still riding the highs of Vertigo before the end of the series, unfortunately.
And look, as much as we are also saying that, hey, BetBoom have a lot to take away from this where they can feel good about this, but also if you look over at just Vertigo, MIBR had the same thing, right? Bjorn isn't coming out, it wasn't just an Insani show purely, Bjorn isn't coming out looking really good, Drop having a few of these good moments and everything as well. But Sam, I have to say, I think it's only fair if we're gonna cream MIBR as much as we did for, you know, them not really doing too well. We have to do the same over here for, if we did it for BetBoom, we have to do it for MIBR, right? We can't really let them get away without any criticism. We have to spot out the fact that Insani is losing out duels in the middle of the game to Nafani, where Nafani is just sort of peeking into him. Insani's on top of Hut. Nafani just gets a kill onto him direct in a straight up duel. We're seeing moments like this coming through. We're seeing all of these different places just breaking apart in the defenses. This was an incredibly poor performance from MIBR, regardless of whether we think it is indicative of their true form or not.
Let's take a look now at Group D. It is your final group here in the group stages for the CCT Global Finals, and we now know how it's going to play out. Of course, Astralis is waiting to now play BetBoom a little later today, but next up, it is that loser match. Big up against MIBR. One of those teams is going to be going home. There is also the potential, I mean, it is going to happen. Either MIBR or BetBoom are going to be playing 3 best of 3s today, and hopefully we don't see what we just saw in this series, because their warm-up looked a little bit shaky for both these teams.
Yeah, so long as we're able to capture the 13x score lines that they were able to actually get, you know, whether that's 0 or 1, if they can capture that lightning in a bottle, I'm sure that will serve them well for the remainder of the day.
If they can capture the lightning in a bottle without letting it hurt themselves in map number 3 for MIBR's case, I think that's what we're more looking out towards. Yeah, MIBR are going to go out of this match incredibly confused, wondering, well, we know what went wrong, but we also know what went right, and we don't really know how to reconcile these two things in our heads.
2 spots left in the Champion of Champions Tour Global Finals playoffs. Today we will find out which teams will be claiming them. Up in a little bit, MIBR taking on Big. One of those teams will be going home. We're going to give you a little bit of break so that you can make sure that you are ready for even more Counter-Strike. We'll see you in a bit.
The world is changing quickly. Get it in.
Is changing, but one thing remains the same: victories with 1xBet.
Tired of boring case openings? Do you always get only cheap skins? The Hellcase website has tons of options to upgrade your inventory. It's up to you to participate in giveaways, events, or compete with other players in opening cases. Hellcase, your world of expensive skins.
Pick and live. Make your choice. Play, pick and get your prize.